everybody? Welcome back to Wappelville, and I think this is what, day 5 here of ReaperCon. This is actually like stream 12 billion for me this week, and we're going to continue with basing. Now this is going to be more of a diorama style of a base, maybe call it vignette, diorama, whatever. But it's actually for a pair of pieces right here. So you've got, these are both dark sword actually. You've got our dragon that goes up on top, and there is his boss over there. We're going to try and combine a bunch of different things because not everybody got to see all of the basing stuff in the first stream. But here's someone that was in our first stream. That is our moderator. Thank you so much for coming back for yet another round of this insanity. Now, what this is mostly made out of, and again, this is a Patreon video here. I'm going to grab just some pieces of pink foam over here. There we go. It's mostly made out of this. Yeah. So we're going to have a couple of these pieces handy over the rest of the night so people can see what we made this out of. You can see we cut stones out of it. Got all the nifty little textures in that. So we have some breaks in our bridge. We're going to do some water effects down here. We're going to do lots of fun little stuff with foliage. Maybe even have some kind of like bushes or whatever almost coming out from between all of these areas here. And I'm thinking this is something I've been itching to try. See these little tiny things here? These could be interesting for that grass sort of growing out of the cracks of your stones and concrete. We do want to get this stuff painted. We might even be painting this later. But we're also going to use these. Now, I don't know if you've seen these before, but I've used them a couple of times, and this is definitely one of the nifty streams that we used them on before. You can catch this on the YouTube channel right here. It's a pretty recent video. It's part of the weathering series here, and we did this with some of the rust pigments, some of the winter wash pigments. Here's some other past episodes that you'll also be able to watch. And all of these bases, I did 4 trays like this. So see this right here? Look at that. That entire tray, all of those bases, that was all painted with these. These are acrylic based, which is really nifty because previously I would have had to do this with weathering pigments and pigment fixer, rubbing alcohol. Messy for sure. These are pretty sweet because they actually do give you that sort of dried, it looks like you've used the weathering powders, but it's in handy dandy liquid form. Now you will want to give these a shake, and boy, I just shook these up a few seconds ago, but you really need to hear that agitator bouncing around. See that? Hear that sound? You really want to hear that agitator bouncing around in there. So that's the one thing about these guys you'll want to pay attention to. So now we're not going to do a desert theme on this. We want to do a little bit more of almost like a jungle theme. I mean, not necessarily jungle, but let's review some of the stuff we did not that many hours ago. Now this is not completely set, but you can see, look at how most of our waterfall there has turned clear. It's see-through. We did all of our foliage here. Look at all these nice drips of water that are coming off the end of this base. Looks a little bit different than it did last night or even this morning. There's a different type of water effect, and I can see my little waves in here now that those have dried. So this originally just had almost like a sheet of glass type texture because we were using this UV resin from Green Stuff World. Basically, it's a fast acting water effect, and by fast acting I mean seconds. You put it on there, and literally within seconds, it is going to be nice and hard. Hear that sound? That is the sound of hardened resin, which you didn't have to wait for. There's none of those pores and just anxiously waiting, is there going to be air bubbles or not? So that is a really nifty method that I like a lot. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna review this an awful lot here because there may be a few more folks joining us. We also used from Wicked Elf. Look at these wonderful little vellum plants that we used here. So we painted those up. I wonder if we have, there comes in a little, here's a part of the sheet that we had painted up. So there's your Vellum Plants right there. We painted these guys up and put them on our base. Hey Crispy, how are you doing? We're just kind of reviewing here what we've already done and some of the things we're going to do. Now what we're gonna do, this is gonna happen a little bit later. I'm just giving the paint here, the oils, as much time to dry as I can. We are gonna do snow effects over here. We're also gonna do icicle effects. So we're gonna do icicles on the end of this. So Crispy, how are you doing? We're going to do icicles on the end of this. We're not going to do any icicles on our griffin. Well, now how's that for timing? Reapers just got themselves some impeccable timing. Ah, look at this. We've got Reaper in the house. Oh, hey there. I'm just going to say Vire, or is it Vira? Thank you so much, Reaper, for that raid. I guess maybe we'll do snow first, because that'll be a little bit easier. Thank you so much for the follow, Noni to Clark. And Thurbad, I think we might have to get through a whole bunch of follow. Let's see, we got Ground Zero, Papa Zaff. We got 9 cents change. Oh, hey, Princess Zelda is back, and Cranky Dog is back. Oh, look at this, Motor City Ray too. How are you doing? So hello, Up and Adams. How are you doing? Let's just oh, yeah, Coffee Nerdy Beer. I think you've been in here before. Oh, Dead Ed 1 has for sure. And Wariana, how are you doing? And Bandar. Deck Knight's never been in here before. How are you doing? We're holding ourselves a couple of Reaper figures here that we are going to be doing some basing on as we welcome Argentine. Rings Raccoon. Ooh, that's an interesting little icon right there. Yes, once again. Now, I don't know if any of you folks were here in the earlier stream. Monster Slayer Boss and Jay Slugger. Thank you so Rings Raccoon, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, hey, Dennison. How are you doing?
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
So we did this earlier today. It's one of several figures that we did. Now, we did some water effects here, and it was a very, very simple material.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Oh, it's the Avrelino Darnassus and Cranky Dog. Hey, Cranky Dog. Thanks so much for the follow.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Oh, we have another dog. We have Frick Dog, and we have Fracture Lock. Oh, thanks again, Princess Zelda, for heading back. So this is a very old...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Oh, hey, thanks, Dragon Day, for the follow. This is a pretty old Reaper figure. We have determined this has to be at least 17 years old, this old Monique de Noir. We gave it a little bit of an update here.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much, Fracture Lock, for the follow. Hey, Toad the Gobbo, how are you doing? So that's all this is. Literally just this heavy gel. Now, haha. And we have More Than Dice, a podcast rating too. So it's a good thing we are just starting right here. So both of our raters from Reaper and from More Than Dice, a podcast. So folks, give More Than Dice, a podcast a follow. Be sure you do that, because you get all the miniature talk, and you get a Kathy too, as we welcome in Mel Ite. So our Liquitex heavy gloss gel, we wanted to do waterfalls, right? Well, you can just sort of pile it on here and sort of drag it down. Say we made some of these. Thank you, Frick Dog and Babacom, for the follow. You can see you can have these smaller ones hanging out, but when you want to do big stuff like this, see this big old sheet that's hanging down. Hey there, Reaper Dave. How are you doing? Many hours in advance, because this will take a few hours to cure here. All I do is just take a brush and I spread out that heavy gloss gel. Thank you so much, Lady Daradogo, for the follow. That is appreciated. You spread it out here, you let this dry, you peel it off, and you get something like this right here, if I can dig this out. There we go. So you get a little sheet like this. Check this out. It has all your texture. and it is a little bit of stickiness to it, but look at that. It's clear. It has texture. It kind of looks like falling water right off the bat. So instead of using something like, I don't know, a blister pack to support it, that's what we have right here. That is our falling water. You can see right through it. We've added some more of our, and this here, we actually took some Valheim Blizzard Snow, mixed it in with our water effects, and now it's given us some lovely foam effect. Oh, thank you so much, Reaper Dave, for the subscription. Wappel is going to wait for that. He's going to catch that until Monique de Winnar chases him away.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, Xylophone. Here's another type of water effect that we did. This is UV resin right here from Green Stuff World, and with literally, yes, a UV light, we filled in all of this area here with some water effects. And then we took that same Liquitex heavy gloss gel, and then we put some wave effects around it, a little bit of ripples in the water, right? Because you don't want the bits to be totally still. Now let's see. I gotta ask, what's it saying when someone follows? It's saying, there you go. There is it's hello, little hobbits, spark my ganja. There you go.
Hobbits, spark my ganja.
Now some of you might have taken this class with Wicked Elf. This is his foliage right here, his Vellum Plants. So we've got another wonderful Reaper sculpt here, and look at what we just added. Look at, we added those little leaves there. This was this morning, well, not this morning session, but earlier this afternoon, so you can go back and watch this. Princess says, I fully believe that Gandalf would say that. So we are gonna grab you another one. Now this is one that you can see painted up. I think this was last night's, no, this was 2 nights ago we did this. And now this is not a Monique de Noir, but it is another Reaper figure. This was all done in oils. Actually, all these figures are painted in oils. Every single one. You can go back and watch all the VODs. But thanks so much, and let's, oh, Cooves, how are you doing? Let me see. Ah, yes, we got a couple of these figs around. Now, this one apparently is in the Learn to Paint set. However, this is a little bit different. This is the new Gen 3 plastic right here. And I think you can see how crisp that is. And you can see that sword doesn't have quite the amount of bend to it. So that is, it's a new material that you will be seeing at a certain point here. I think we have another one. Yep, this is another one that we were working on. This is also done in that new Gen 3 plastic. Lots of crisp details. Lots of crisp details. And I think we've got one more over, or a couple more over here. And you can watch all of these VODs. You can actually see how these were based. Watch Monday's show. Just go back to Monday. Go back in time a little bit. Less than a week ago, you can see how all of these were based on Green Stuff World texture rollers. These are also painted in oils. You can watch those. That was Wednesday's show, I believe. Oh, thanks, Cooves. Yeah, Ground Zero. That is not a metal figure. That is not, because here's your classic bones that we all know and still love. But you can see that Gen 3, it doesn't have quite the flex down. I'm pressing on that pretty hard. It's not really moving. And look at all the crispy detail on that. That is none too shabby. Now, speaking of bones figures, we do have an old bones here. And we were painting this one last night. So you can go back and watch this one. Some of you might have already seen this. This is a more advanced than that, I believe, Chambers of Miniatures. It is a new type. That has never, actually I'm the first person to actually have that in my hands. So I believe that is something new that has not been around before. See, I had a look on the Reaper store, only saw that Mangu Timor model in metal and the old bones. That I can't answer about what new releases might be. If some of the Reaper folks are in the chat, maybe they can answer that. And thank you, Cerebro, for the follow. That is appreciated. So we painted this all in oils. And you can watch this last night's show. You can watch the basing of this. This is Monday night's show. Oh, hey, Dr. Feedgood is back. So again, we're still letting this we're still in this cure a little bit. And we're going to do some more water effects. Rest assured, we will do some more. Oh, actually, here's another example of those Vellum Plants. Ah, thank you, Bilbo's Brush. Thank you for that subscription. Subscriptions are handy. We all love subscriptions. Now again, we're also going to be using these. You'll see those later on, but we want to do ourselves just a wee bit of snow effects. Snow effects here and here. I absolutely love this stuff because unlike other snow effects where you can do one type of snow, oh yeah, Ground Zero, they are fantastic. I've used them for so many things. So we've got our crushed glass realistic water. You can combine these in different amounts. Different amounts. What do you mean different amounts? Check this out. So here is one of your Song of Ice and Fire Builder Scorpions. Look at how we've got that melted snow right here. And then you see you have your fresh fallen snow. This is another thing we're going to add. See those icicles? We're going to add some of those too. This is the option that you have. Now we've got some other things that also have some snow on them. Here's another example of your crushed glass snow. So we've got an SU-122 from Warlord Games. We got crushed glass snow here. Look, more icicles, more melted snow up here. Your melted snow there, melted snow in the tracks combined with mud. So you can do so many different things with that. But thanks again, Bilbo's Brush. And over the course of the evening here, we're going to be showing you a whole lot of different type of basing. So those paints that you saw, these Green Stuff World dust pigments, you can watch me do an entire unit, several of these movement trays and bases with those paints on the Twitch channel and on the YouTube channel. It is not like a Vallejo Stillwater. It's I think it's actually a little bit runnier maybe than the Stillwater. You can use this for water effects too, but where it really shines is with the crushed glass. Oh, hey there, Kit Quartz. How are you doing? Now we're going to get ourselves a little, I mean, it's just a butter thing here. And we're going to use this because when it says crushed glass, it means crushed glass. So you don't want this stuff flying all over the place. As we go, we got a Steiner in the house. Folks, be sure to give Steiner the follows. Yes, be sure to do that. Now, I also don't want this thing moving around on me, so I'm going to use a little blue tack here to secure this to the palette. Here's another little important thing. Now, you can't really, can you read that do not shake? We actually take a marker and we write do not shake here, because what's the first thing we do with the jar? We grab a jar, we shake it, right? I've almost shaken this thing about 4 times today. You don't want to be doing that. Oh, hey, Drax. How are you doing? Oh, and TJ is back, too. Oopsie, I almost just shook it. I almost did. Another thing to think about with this. Less is more. Don't put out a ton of it. You have a certain amount of time where you can work with it. You got a certain amount of time. That's it. So it's best to put out a little bit and then put out more later. If you want to see some of the materials that were used on that base, see we got sticks, we have rocks, literally stuff that you could just, well, pick up sitting out in front of your house. That is no joke. So what I'm going to do here is try and get this thing pulled out. There we go. Again, do not shake. We need ourselves a couple of... You need yourself some brushes you don't care about. And guess what? These are the same brushes that we paint miniatures with. But we still don't care about them. You can see there's glue and all other kinds of junk in here. Hey, DiMarino is back. Let's see, FYI, for those waiting, the Future of Reaper panel has been moved to tomorrow, but stay and watch for Peleus. It's a great show. Oh, thanks, Princess Zelda. And also, Master of Splash, thank you so much for the follow. So we got ourselves a couple of brushes here that we don't care about. What we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of our crushed glass over here, and that's a little bit, not a lot. This looks like a small container here. Well, now this is interesting. We have Captain Madlove with the raid. So folks, be sure to give Captain Madlove a follow, and we'll just welcome then. Oh, look at this. We got a Valendar. Give Valendar a red a follow too. So we're gonna wait to put this stuff out until the raiders come through, because we want them to be able to see what's going on here. We also have some more snow effects. So it's more of a standard type of a snow. Oh, look at this. Here's another one. More snow. More icicles. Check it out, icicles. This is another reason why I like this particular snow effect, because when you do the blood effects, it sinks down into the snow, sort of like snow crystals. So Captain Madlove, how are you doing? I hope you had a good stream. Let's see, Lady Deirdre, who sells the Vellum Plants? That would be Wicked Elf Studios, or Wicked Elf Miniatures, so sorry. There you go, Wicked Elf Miniatures. And I do believe they have a 20% off Reaper discount going on right now, so that might be something that you wanna capitalize on. What are we talking about? The Vellum Plants. Here's my leftover stuff. These Vellum Plants, they're super easy to paint. This is way better than paper foliage. You can see see how they're flexible? They don't break. You see how I kind of sculpted these a little bit? I twisted them around. You can't do that with most paper foliage. It just breaks. Now, I'm doing great, Captain Madlove. I think this is, I think we're at about 45 hours of streaming this week, maybe more. We're at least at 45. Let me see. We also have some Woodland Scenics right here. This is from Green Stuff World. That's their tall foliage. These are from Gamer's Grass. So we have 1, 2, 3, and we have Luke's APS. We have 5 different companies worth of products on this base. Basing can be more than just chucking a miniature and a grass tuft. It can be way more than that. Just like this, for the new people that just came in, here are some water effects that we did. This was the first stream today. This was done with Liquitex Heavy Gloss Gel. Where is my container? Here it is. So, Heavy Gloss Gel. Last night, more like earlier this morning, you can see how this is starting to get clear. So this is several hours that it took to get this clear. But now, once you've done that, you have a sheet. Look at this. Look at that handy little waterfall sheet. And you can apply it now. Look at how it just kind of runs right over these rocks and our foliage. Oh, let's see, Lords of Earth. It's an air dry clay. Where did you find the cork that you use for basing? It is just bulletin board cork. It's real simple. And I love the bulletin board cork because these are both based on bulletin board cork. It's exactly the same material. There is no difference. We just put lava on one and snow on the other. Bulletin board cork is a fabulous material. Let's see, Princess Hilda, can you show us what you use for that clear sheet again? I think we just had that in our hands. There it is. Now, I have done water fountains with this. And we've also, look at this is even bigger. So again, we have that running down here. We have a nice little sheet of it over here. We even have some more over here. You can see it dries very clear. If we want it to be foamy, I just add a little bit of snow effect to it, and it gets to be nice and foamy. So now that I think we've, oh, and look at this, Zeltaris. Folks, be sure to give Zeltaris a follow, because you talk about some high quality RPG, Zeltaris, Pyro Club, Xenalos Project, you got to check those out because they are really fun. They're like actors. You want to see actors? Go check that out. Yeah, Lords of Furious, it's amazing stuff. I love it. Now here we're going to do some snow effects. And we are going to utilize, from Secret Weapon Miniatures, my favorite snow crushed glass. Because you can do multiple type of effects with this. Most snow gives you fluffy white snow. Pretty much nothing else. Now, this is actual crushed glass, so you want to be, that's why we have, see, a container of it over here. That's why it's not just loose and all over the place. This also says do not shake. Do yourself a favor and write do not shake across the top, because the first thing we all do with the paint jar is shake it. I almost did it with this thing just a few minutes ago. Now here's a good example of sort of the variety of snow effects that you can get. This is that same crushed glass. You can see we've combined it with mud effects here. You can see we've got muddy, wet snow, and now we've got more of the fresh fallen snow here. So I'm actually going to start turning down some of my lights. So if you see the lights dim here, that's because of snow effects. So it's a little bit easier to see those now, so it's going to be a little bit darker here. Don't be scared of the dark. If you want to see how this was painted, just watch last night's episode. If you want to see how this was based, watch Monday's episode. If you want to see how all the other figures were painted, watch Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's episode, and Saturday's, because that's when all those were painted. Now, we have said a little goes a long way, and we're going to mix a little at a time. Like a little at a time. Once again, we have our brushes that we don't care too much about. Oh, hey, beef in the hole. Yes, you'll... Well, or could we have like a seance? We have several candles. It's more like a seance now. And here's what we got them on two different sides, right? We're going to make these meet in the middle. We're just going to take a little bit of this over here. We're going to separate that. And then we're going to start pushing some of our liquid effects into this. And look what happens. Look at how... Doesn't it look like melted snow right there? Does that not look like melted snow? So you can do melted snow. Look at how melted that snow can be. You can do melted snow. You can do pristine snow. How do you do the pristine snow? You just throw more snow in there. It takes a little bit of working here. Little bit of working. Now you see how that's not collapsing quite so much? That is going to give us reasonably puffy snow. Where are we going to stick this? I'm going to put it right over here for now. This will... There's a little bit of a touch and feel to this. It takes a little while to learn. It's best to have two brushes also. See how we push that snow right down into that little crevice right there? We're going to go get ourselves some more here. We're going to get some more. I want to just kind of shove that down into that crevice there. You basically, it's almost like we're oil painting, just with snow effects. You place this stuff, and then you push it around. So I'm going to place some more here. A little bit more. So Captain Madlove, that is from Secret Weapon Miniatures. We've got tons and tons of videos actually on that on the YouTube channel. And by tons, I mean there are literally dozens of videos on the YouTube channel showing me using this. Let's see, I think, there, look at that. See how that kind of just hangs over there? But it has a sparkle to it. No other snow has a sparkle. Other snow looks white. It may look fluffy.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun jar.
Thank you so much for the follow, Dralcree. I think that's how it is. If I mispronounce the screen name, just let me know, and I will pronounce it the desired way. We're going to place this stuff. We are going to push this stuff around. And look at, you can really collapse this stuff. So that really gets into some small places there. And so we're just kind of tapping it. So we're just sort of tapping our snow there. Is that not fun? Let's mix up some more. Let's get some more of this mixed up here. And again, it's better to just have a little bit. Mix some new stuff. Because it has a finite working time. You put too much on here, it's going to be too much. And then you'll be kind of wasting It's not the most expensive stuff in the world, but you really don't want to be wasting your miniature supplies. Now we're going to say that this stuff maybe towards him is a little bit more melted. You know, if you're worried about touching the glass or whatever, a glove, just wear a glove. I don't bother because, well, I have plenty of brushes and I just really never touch the glass anyway. So see, look at how this is, let's do something like this here. See how that's almost got a little bit of a clear effect there? That is the stuff that your sort of standard snow can't do. What do you mean by standard snow? I mean something like this. We're just going to grab a brush here. You got one kind of snow. That's it. That's all you got. You have nothing else except puffy, well, it's more like puffy white granules. It looks like white sand. If white sand is an adequate snow effect, then it's all good. But if you're looking for something a little bit beyond sand, that's not a bad product. We're going to put some more out here. And we get this thing closed. We want that thing closed. Now we're going to mix up some more here. Mix up a little bit more. Maybe not quite so melty. That's right. See how that's got that puffy look to it? Nice puffy look to it. Big old blob of snow. Maybe we'll get some of that right here. And we're going to get some more of that over here and over here. Let's manipulate our snow. Let's just press this. But see how it keeps its shape? Look, see how it's just kind of hanging over the edge like that? But now, yeah, you can see what I'm doing. See how we're pulling this along our... And this is just tree bark, folks. That's all this is. It's just tree bark. It is just tree bark. Something. It's pine tree bark if you're looking for the species of tree. Look at that. See how it's just kind of hanging down there? Oh, catch you later, Rings Raccoon. Thanks for stopping in. There's hope to catch more. You have really good stuff. Okay. Oh, and look, cosplaying kitten in the house. Folks, be sure to give Cosplaying Kitten a follow. So what did you stream tonight? Was it art or miniatures? Because, well, you do a bunch of different things. I didn't get a chance to watch because I was still setting this up after making a big mess the previous stream. So see what we got here going on with our snow. Now let's manipulate this a little bit more. See that? Look at all this fun stuff we can do with our snow. Let's put a little bit more of a water effects out here. Oh, and by the way, you can layer this stuff. So if you got melty snow and you say, you know, I wish it was less melty, you just put another layer on there. You can give yourself another layer of snow and it's going to be all good. We're doing another little mix right here. Now this is going to be pretty melted snow here. So we're going to have to throw a little bit more of our water, or a little bit more of our actual snow, our crushed glass out here. Let's add some. I'm just going to add it right over here. Just a little bit at a time because it can all of a sudden, like right here, see that's already starting to get puffy? It just took a little bit. We'll mix this up a little bit more, maybe even some more. So folks, if I miss you in the chat, you'll just have to forgive me there. This stuff, again, has a finite working period, so we need to work with it when we can. Let me see. Let's see. No true, just, yeah, as far as the... Thanks for the host, Avocado Kids, and be sure to give Avocado Kids a follow, too. He does dioramas, speaking of basing and diorama, and species. Thank you so much for the follow. That is appreciated. So if you watch Monday's stream, all of these materials are covered in depth. They're also covered on the YouTube channel. And as Armored Wolf said, it's just primer and paint. And I've been using these basting methods for over, actually more like 7 years. And I have miniatures that I did 7 years ago, and they are just as fine today as when we first put them together, when I first did the basting effects. Just extending out our snow here. See that nice little snow pile right there? Let's see. Oh, thanks, Cosplaying Kitten. Here, let's put some more down here, shall we? Originally, this was not going to be snow, but last night they had asked about snow effects, and we didn't have anything on hand for snow effects, so we just did that on here. And that's what's happening right now. And we're just going to push this around, do the same thing here. Now we'll wait on that branch, because we want to have that branch looking extra special. Let me see. Oh, okay, don't want to eat your... they're dumb. All right. So again, if I miss people in the chat, if there's a lot of messages and stuff going on, my nose is kind of in the snow right here, so I may not catch everybody. I'll just put a little bit more of our snow over here again. We can pile this up real nice. I might actually take some of this. I'm just going to put it over here, because I can do multiple layers, and it's going to be a little bit easier to do this. So I'm actually just going to steal some of my snow here. I'm going to push it over here. Again, maybe the snow was melted a little bit more there. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to cover up all my rocks either. You can see we get, look at that, nice crystalline snow on the end there. I think we're all good on the chat again. So we're going to add a touch of... no, we're just going to add some of our water effects here. We're not going to add anything else just yet. Just do the water effects. If I need more crushed glass, I can put that out there. I also have some smaller brushes here. We just got a beat up smaller brush. Okay, I'll put a little more crushed glass out here. We'll put a little bit more out here, because I want to do some fun stuff with the trees. Get some snow on those trees. We can't have icicles if we don't have trees with snow on them. And we'll just push all this together. Nice little snow batch there. Put some over on this side. We don't want to grab him because, well, that's still wet oil paint. We'll throw a little bit more back here. Fills in that area pretty nice. Let's get some snow on top of this branch. And it's somewhat melted because, well, we want icicles hanging off of that, right? We want to have some icicles coming off of that. That should give us a good reason to have an icicle hanging off the bottom of that, shouldn't it? Just have him walking through the snow here. Let's get a little more snow over here. And I keep wanting to grab him by the wings. That's not a good idea because, well, there's still going to be wet oil paint there. And we'll get some of our snow on this branch here too. Little more snow here. And now here's the big one. This is what I've really been waiting for. See that nice little blob of snow there on the end of that? Down here I don't need a whole bunch of snow because, well, there is an overhang there. how could all that snow magically end up in there? So just a little bit of snow. Yeah, Cosplaying Kitten, I'll do that in a little bit. When we have snow effects like this, we just have to keep working with it. So I will be with you in a second on that. Now, these brushes that you see here that are mostly destroyed, like, well, this one here, this has been used. I might even use this for painting tomorrow. I don't know. But that it will be a testament to how of the one true brush and just the power of the one true brush. I'm going to set him down and we're going to scoop off some of the snow that's sitting on here. Now we did talk about puffier snow, right? Well, guess what? We'll add a little more crystals to that. It's more of a crushed glass snow. We'll make it even puffier here. Look at that. Look at how puffy that snow is. And I'm just going to find myself a good way to grab this here without getting my finger stuck in the snow. See how we got a different snow? Whoops. That is a much different snow texture right there. That's much heavier snow. Look at this. See how heavy that is? That is going to give you an entirely different look. I'm going to put that over here so we can just kind of pile it up like right against this rock here. This is a little bit wetter. Just a wee bit wetter. Yeah, look at that. Did that take very long? Was that really hard? No. Did we get lots of interesting looking snow? Oh, yes, we did. Here, we're going to pile a little bit more here. And we are going to do the same on the end of Mr. Tree over here. And then we'll just kind of scrape up this leftover stuff and we'll find some other places to put it. Now, zip zap wrap. Let's say I had a win-lose day. Planted a lot of Warcry terrain. No, not to worry, Cosplaying Kitten. We'll get you there. We will get you there in just a second. Normally, when I'm just painting with the oils, it's no big deal. But when you got terrain stuff like this, or anything that involves glue or time-sensitive things, I just kind of have to keep charging ahead with this. Now, there we go, and now is the perfect time. Now is the perfect time, because we gotta let that just set. Will it be completely dry? No, it will not be. However, let's look at our poor brush right here. Well, here, let's get our green handle brush. So, here's the brush we were just using. We were just sticking basically glass and water effects in this brush. Recognize the color of the handle. Well, we have some brushes in a few different states of... Here we go. Thank you so much, Apollo. So we have brushes in different states right here. This is why we call it the one true brush. So here's the brush we were just using. You can see it's pretty well destroyed, right? Well, when it gets to that state, I actually just cut it down like this. I use it as a spatter brush. Now check this out. We've got what looks like two different brushes. Well, look at this. The points are the same. Let's get some water in this brush here. So we got a little water in that brush. Points look very much the same, but this is like a filbert brush. And since this brush performs so many different tasks, it can do so many different things, that's why we call it the one true brush. The handle may change. In fact, now the handle is gray. However, it is the one true brush. And it's really not terribly expensive because there's a dozen of them for $5. You can get these at Hobby Lobby right there. And I do believe, well, let's we want to see some. What's the Book of Wappel? What is the Book of Wappel? Well, check this out. These are basically little tidbits of knowledge that have been gained. There are 33 chapters right now. This is the first one. If a color goes somewhere, it must go everywhere. When we start painting later tonight, you will see what that means. Decision. That's snow, right? You can be as precise as you want, but if you can't decide, do I want wet snow? Do I want powdery snow? You always got to try new things. You can't take that voyage of discovery if you never get on the boat, and you're going to hear me say this a lot. You can add all the lights you want, but if you don't have darks, you don't have light. Oh, we never strip miniatures in Wappelville either. We love our midtones. Now let's get to some basing ones here. Let's get to this one. Strictly applies to basing. Nothing replicates nature better than nature. What the heck is that all about? Check this thing out right over here. Look at this little base. Doesn't that look familiar? Doesn't that look just like what we were using here? Now let me grab the miniature that goes with that. Tree bark, sticks, stuff that's laying on the ground. Now I did get, this is like dried foliage from Michael's here or something. Look at our little panther. Look at how that, he's kind of like walking right down here. What if we did another waterfall effect? What if we did another waterfall effect just like this? Look at how natural those rocks are once they've been flocked and painted and, well, even some water effects added. Nature. I used to try and sculpt these things until I realized, yeah, that's laying on the ground. I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to use it. Now, there are some supplies, literally, because of the attention that this week has garnered, they're kind of like out of stock. Oh, they're kind of out of stock. Now, we'll check on this and how this is doing. So that's starting to solidify real nice. Let's look at some other bases here. Oh, I think we have a bits war. Parm is going to start up a bits war. We like bits wars. Here, let's get ourselves some different bases for you to check out here. Ah, this is one I'm looking for. It's that same tree bark, right? And this is going to pertain to our Wappelville. So look at that. We got tree bark. That's just a green stuff snake. Every time I have leftover... Oh, thank you so much. Armored Wolf and Parm. Let's see. Cosplaying Kitten. I did that for my the Ever Queen. Went for a walk and actually got sticks to use as tree roots. So see, instead of just having this glob of green stuff like this, when I have leftover green stuff, I sculpt a little snake. Because you never know when you need a snake. A snake on a base. This is some more of our, that same Sculpey. Oh, thanks, Princess Zelda. The waterfall, it's getting there. It's about, I want to say, 80% there, maybe 85% there. But now, take a look at these. Now, Avocado Kid's getting into it too. Hey, Ozzy, how are you doing? So, look at these two bases right here. These steampunk bases. So, Cosplaying Kitten wanted to take a little tour. Oh, and Dr. Feedgood getting in on it too. Here we are. We're almost there. We're getting there. This is the town of Wappelville, otherwise known as our Wild West Exodus terrain. And look at that. Those are all MDF buildings, which seems like 1,000 years ago that people were doing MDF. Remember that, when everything smelled like the delicious smell of burning wood instead of resin? All of those buildings made of MDF, done by Burn-In Designs. There's a better look at the train station, the church, the jail, the boardwalks. All that stuff is MDF terrain. And there's your lawmen of Wappelville. But you see all those windows? You got leftover pieces, right? When you punch out those pieces, what do you do with those things? You do this. These are all leftover pieces of MDF. It's junk until we repurpose it for basing. So never throw stuff away. At least that's what I suggest. Oh, and more of them diced up podkit. Look at that. What is going on there? We definitely have to have Wappelius for that. And she says, he's like, I thought I was safe. Fine. She says, them's are mine. All those bits, those are mine. Well, and then she gets chased away by the big nasty griffin here. And again, this was painted with oils. The question from Dave, do you guys offer private lessons to teach your specific style? It is a little bit difficult to schedule those. I can try to schedule those. The Patreon page actually has 300 hours of tutorials on it, so that is also another possibility. It might even be cheaper. Actually, in fact, it definitely would be, but we can kind of work those out. You could always send me a private message, and we can try and work out some scheduling. Oh, thanks, Ozzy. So let's see how dry are the oils. Well, they're drier than I thought. Drier than I thought. But we want to do this just a few more minutes here. Hi. Hey, Cosplay Kitten now has a subscription. Here, let's put this where we can see it. And here's those water effects. So you can see, I'm just going to use a brush here to point to it. See, that has a little bit of milkiness to it yet. That still has to dry. A lot of this is nice and dry. Look at this whole little extra rivulet that we put here. That's dry. And this is mostly dry too. And look at this. It's flexible, so it's not going to break. It's not going to break. We even have some extra little water drops over here. There's other ways you can use that water effect. And these are on the YouTube channel. See that nice little splash effect that we did? Splash effects. Again, icicles. It's the same material we use for this. There's your icicles. And there's your crushed glass. See that piled up there on your extra tank treads and such? But thank you so much, More Than Dice, for the biddies. Those are definitely appreciated. And folks, I do suggest that you go back and watch Monday's session on the basing and then watch Thursday's session on the painting of this, because it is just literally sculpey clay that you can bake in the oven. We just rolled this out in basically a pasta machine. And as you can see, you can break it, you can carve it, you can do all the stuffs. And Bill Robertson, purveyor of brownies, is providing now some of our lovely folks with some subs, some gift subs. We're going to pull this material back out again. This is Liquitex Heavy Gloss Gel. I just get this on Amazon these days, but you can get this anywhere. You can get this at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Pretty much any art store is going to have this. And thanks again, Bill Robertson, so much. Hey, Bajawa. How are you doing? Let's just put a little bit of this now. We're going to get our crushed glass out of here because reasons. You know, just put this in a safer location away from us. Oh, look, we have ourselves a little bit of a palette. That's too white, though. We want to be able to see this a little easier. I'm going to get rid of this thing that's got the crushed glass in it. That if you just if you stick it in some water soon enough, you won't have to worry about it so much. It'll just wash right out. If it dries in there, you can actually use some rubbing alcohol to get rid of it. Yeah, we're just going to get our little piece of plastic right here. We don't need that brush. Get ourselves another one like this, because we don't need a whole bunch. We don't need a bunch to do the icicles. Even that might be too much. Oh, by the way, you can sculpt fire with this stuff. Not kidding. You can sculpt fire with it. Let's move Mr. Griffin out of the way here. And here's where we're going to maybe... No, we're not going to try... Oh, hey there, John Setzer for the follow. I almost missed that. Let's see. Thank you. We had a good taster. Silly question. Can you cut yourself on the crushed? Strange. You cannot cut yourself on the crushed glass. But let's say you get it on your eye or on in your finger, and then you stick your finger in your eye. Well, you now have crushed glass in your eye. It's ground way too fine for that. So if you get it on your hands, just wash it off. And like I say, if you want to wear a glove, you can wear a glove. Look at this. Doesn't it look like fire? Or, look at this. We can spread this out here. If we have a bigger brush even, it does even more. Look at this. Does that look like waves? We can even look at this. Doesn't it look like waves on water? This is like the universal material. It does everything. It does fire. Oh, and if you need to sculpt fur, like on a Bones miniature where there's a big old mold line running through it or something, just use a brush like this, and guess what? You can almost like sculpt fur texture in there. So it is the universal material. Let's see. Know why? Again, unless the kids are getting into your miniature paint, there's no problem with it. The containers are sealed. I'm sure that you don't have your kids rummaging through your miniature stuff. Otherwise, there's really no way they're going to come in contact with it. I mean, we were using this stuff with pets around the house too, and that was no problem there. All right, icicle time. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out, was there a question somewhere? I just hopped back in, so sorry for asking. What can you sculpt the fire? It's the same heavy gloss gel, Bill, that we use for the water effects, and now that we're using for the icicles. It's the same stuff. It can sometimes you have to tease it for a while. There we go. Sometimes you start out drier and work your way a little bit thicker. So look at this. We almost have a big old icicle here. We're just going to position that there for right now. But look at see those icicles that we're doing? Yeah, let's get a little bit more of our icicle hanging down there. Now let's grab this where we're not going to destroy our freshly hewn icicles. Oh, hey, Memnor, how are you doing? All right, so I can't grab the jar right now. My hands are kind of full. I will grab that in a second. And we've got to create a source here for icicle. It's not enough to just have an icicle hanging from nowhere. We got to give this thing an actual source. So yeah, sorry guys, this is another, when you're doing basing stuff, you can't just drop it and do other things. So I will get to those things as soon as I can. Now I'm also going to take some water here. And we extend our icicle. And it just looks like a white blob right now. You've seen those other icicles, right? They don't look so much like white blobs. We're going to get ourselves a little bit of ice on this one too. All right, see that nice little icicle we just did right there? Now I'm going to grab this with this hand. And it is Liquitex super heavy gloss gel. And you don't need a giant container of it. This will last even me quite a while. Let me see. You can also tint this. You can use, I just use contrast paints to tint it. That works just fine. We put this on here a few hours ago, and you can see it's already drying very clear. And this is how it dries clear. You can see there's now the parts here that are foamy and that are white. They're white because we actually mixed something in there to make it more white. But you can see it dries totally clear. You wouldn't want to paint over the top of it because that's going to look really weird. But you could take something like a Keelian green right here, or say a Badger Ghost tint, something like that. And again, you can see there's a little bit of color in that. See how, look at that. You can see that bluishness right there. That's what we mixed in there. And again, you can watch these. This is on the YouTube channel. You can also watch the past VODs of that. I've got a ton of, I got 2 water fountain videos. Let me see. I think we've got that taken care of. You can see our snow. That's starting to harden right there. I can actually hear the brush against it. This is what I mean about not having a lot of time to work with it. So Varro, yes, it all dries very clear. And we're going to put a couple more little icicles hanging off of this. We can maybe even have an icicle hanging off of this right here. Now look at, we almost have an icicle right here on our brush. So you got to place it there first, and then you just pull that down like so. It's that easy. It is really that easy. It's not complex. It may take a little while to just get used to it. Like, see another little icicle that I made there. The first time you use it, you may have to just kind of get used to how it works. But maybe see, we add another little one right there. Let me see. Add Zombiever. We'll take you over there in just a second. Again, we are right in the middle of something here, so we'll get you there soon. And we actually do have a couple of pictures of Wappelville that people have not seen. I'm glad I saved a couple of them then. So get this around here. We're looking at our, do we want to add some more icicles here? Maybe. Maybe over here. There's one. They don't have to all be like a foot long. They can be small. There, look at that. Another fun little icicle right there. Nancy Memnor asks, if you were making fire out of it, would you paint over it all? I would just prime over it. It would just be another sculpting material. That's all it is. I would just prime over it and paint it, because I know I've already done that, and that works out fantastic. Oh, no problem, Varro. Let's see. The snow is Secret Weapon crushed glass. Again, you can go back. Well, you can watch this again, or you can check out my YouTube channel, where I have a ton of videos on it. Oh, Sarge is going to start up a bits war again. We like bits wars. I'm thinking about an icicle there. I'm just going to say no. Oh, look at this, is already starting to dry clear. That's already starting to become clear. Maybe we do another. Look at that. And here, let's say we want to extend this. Let's liquefy this a little bit. Can add just a bit more to that.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun.
Oh, thank you so much, Wacko Ninja Lab, for the follow. That is appreciated. How do icicles form? They form by water dripping down the same place over and over. You can do that yourself with your icicles too. So here's the material. This is the snow right here. So it's Secret Weapon crushed glass. It is a 2-part material. That's the important bit, because the more of this you have, the more melted your snow is going to be. The more of this you have, the more white and puffy your snow is going to be. And you can make any combinations thereof.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun.
Thank you so much for the follow, McLou. It's going to really help your Christmas house, no doubt about it. So we got to see parts of Wappelville. Let's take a look at the rest. So here we go. So we saw the town, right? There's your town of Wappelville. We haven't really get to see too much of who is in there. So our lawmen, right? See those little graves right there? That is actually, you can check that out on the blog. I show how to make those little graves. That is literally just some illustration board, some pink foam, and some zombicide figures to make those little fun gravestones. Now, these are some of the miniatures that were painted. Again, check out the blog. It's just wappeliusblogspot.com. So, hey, Luther, I hope that answered your question right there. Look at the basing. See that bark? See those trees? Those figures were done in, I think, 2012 or 2013. They are just as fine today as they were back then. And here's some more. Warrior Nation and Dark Nation. So that's there's some of the citizens of Wappelville there, so to speak. Let's see. You're making me order so many things. Oh, hey, Art of Mike Disney. Folks, be sure to give Art of Mike Disney a follow because he looks exactly like this. This is exactly how he looks. See, this is like the spitting image of Mike Disney right here. Right down to the Detroit Tigers hat and the bum knee. This is physically Mike Disney right here. I'm holding him in my hand, so you know this is me and this is Mike Disney, and we just kind of dance along and we have some fun. Like that co-stream with, was it last Friday? Yes, last Friday. Last Friday we did that. Let's see what our snow looks like here. I don't know if you can hear that. That's a nice sound right there. I like hearing that sound. That's the sound of, it's not totally cured yet, but that's the sound of, oh, I could actually touch this and not have to worry about smushing it. So smushed snow is not happy snow. I think you can see that. Look at how that's starting to clear up a little bit right there. Let me see. Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight. That's kind of what we're doing. That's kind of what we're doing. So we're going to set all of these things actually aside because guess what? We want to do some more basing here, right? We want to do some more basing. We've got this right here, and it is a nifty little diorama. This is actually a Dark Sword set of figures here. Here, let's get these guys on there. So we have this red dragon here, and we've got ourselves a, well, some kind of draconid sorcerer right here. Well, we want to get this painted up because guess what we want to add? We want to add more water effects down here. We can't do that until this gets painted. And this is the latest Patreon video that I did. It just went out yesterday, I think. And we are going to play with some of these. Now, these, I know I showed folks much earlier here. Let's see, question from Dr. Feedgood. You went back after the gel set to add to more. Yep. Dr. Feedgood, you can definitely add some more. So on this one here, I probably went back on this one almost 3 times or so to make that icicle longer. Now, obviously, some of these shorter ones, no big deal. I definitely went back on these icicles multiple times to make those longer. So let's get burnt earth. We got light earth. And until you hear the sound of that there, you got to hear that agitator bouncing around inside there. And we've got dark earth. And I just shook these up. There, hearing that agitator. Now, where is my black soot? We're going to use this one too. And as a quick little review, that is the same stuff that we used on here. And you can still watch this. You can still watch this VOD right here. It is also on the YouTube channel. So all of this is, oh, that tree bark, right? Look at this. You see the tree bark? Once again, nothing replicates nature better than nature. Let me see. Melite, no, this stuff will be all set within a matter of hours, not days. So here's our black. Just get some of this out here. And that is all that is just a piece of palette paper, nothing else. Now this is going to be more of a reddish color here. One of these is going to be a little bit more towards the almost greenish side. Let's see, Princess Zelda. We just got the color shift paints from Green Stuff World. Ah, yes, boy, they'll be sparkly, all right. They will be sparkly. They also, what are they? Oh, they have the floor. This is they sent me these. They have fluorescent pigments now. These are dry pigments, but they're fluorescent. Let's see. I don't see tree bark. I see greatness. Oh, hey there, Gumbotron. How are you doing? Ground Zero. Some of the VODs do. Now, the more recent episodes, like last night, that was 10 hours long. That is going to be split up into 3 or 4 YouTube videos. Now, there's other things like, okay, I would say if you wanted to go watch this is going to be a VOD because that was 9.5 hours long, and I don't want to split it into 3 YouTube videos. So if you want to see the last part of the painting of this Creature Caster figure, I would suggest just going back, and it's going to be a highlight. It will be a highlight eventually. Now, there's other things like, let me see, what else do we have? That was some other, so this is on YouTube here. So where's our, there we go. Oops, wrong one. We need our owl bears. There we go. This is on YouTube right here. This was a past session, but before I realized you can make a highlight not only permanent, but be as long as you want, I was taking these, putting them on YouTube. So sometimes they're broken up, like those tank painting ones. They're broken up into segments. So I want one more. This is the one I'm looking for here. So this is Desert Earth. Let me see. Gumbotron series. I painted a single thin coat on one of my minis, and I said, oh, you must be doing the oils. Less is more, right? And more is way too much. We might even be able to get back into some oils today, or tonight. I actually have other figures. Well, we will be painting more stuff tonight, that's for sure. Now, there's another little trick that I kind of learned with, here it is. There's just water in here. And believe it or not, what actually can be helpful with this is like give it a little spritz of water here. And the one true brush, right? The one true brush here. I think we're all set. Yeah, Ground Zero. It kind of depends on how long the session was. If it was a really long session, and if I can't break it up into individual pieces on YouTube, like this one here, this was long enough. This is 2 parts on YouTube, but it's also a full highlight that you can watch. The nice thing about the YouTube videos is that you get to see pictures of it, what it looked like when it was done. You get to see maybe even a couple of work in progress pictures. Obviously, when you're just rewatching a Twitch thing, you don't quite get to see that sort of fun stuff.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much, Girl Geek, for the follow. That is appreciated. Now, there's another thing you can do with this stuff, too. You are not just stuck with painting that on. You can take a makeup sponge. All of us oil painters recognize this. You can take some of that away. Oh, look, some of the rock texture just came back. And if you're wondering what this is primed with, it's just Badger Steiner Res. Everything I do, no matter what it is, resin, plastic bones, terrain, it all gets primed with the Steiner Res. Let's see. Okay. Let's get more of this. And you're going to see we are going to vary the color. This is a little bit more red. You can mix these. This is why I gave it that spritz, so that quite literally the colors would just kind of mix together on their own. Look at this. We can mix these two together. Who says we can't mix those? We might even get some of our gray out there too. I don't really have to fret so much about the painting of this thing, because when all the foliage gets onto this, there's not going to be much painted stuff left to see. That's why we're really working in some darks here. Now, I think we spritzed this side. I think we did. Maybe we get it even a little bit more liquid. Look at that. See how it's just kind of absorbing all that? And by the way, this is made out of pink foam. pink foam, some bulletin board cork, you name it, it's in here. You name it, it's in here. Let's get a little bit more of our, oh, look at this. Look what that starts to do. Now let's get a little bit more of this. It's almost going to look like, yeah, that's a nice little brown right there. Let's do some of this over here. We might throw some more of our black soot out there. Let's say we want to take our sponge here and we'll, again, we can wipe some of that away. We'll continue on our stones out here. Some of this is stones falling off the bridge. Some of it is just rocks. Cranky Dog, it's a very good primer. You bet it is. This green stuff, earth, it is all acrylic based right here. Yep, water-based liquid pigment. Which is why when we give it a spritz of water, that is why it's going to be moving around. Now I'll be painting this guy with oil paints. So
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun.
thank you so much, Xander, for the follow. And this is the exact same primer. These are primed identically at the same time. So we'll be painting oils over this once we get this guy painted up here. I just thought it would be fun for you guys to see, because after the episode we did earlier today, it's clear to me that there is basically nobody that shows basing on Twitch, or next to nobody. I think maybe Renru has dived into it a little bit, but there's very few folks that really give you a good look at what basing can do for your miniatures. There just doesn't seem to be very much of that. There's lots of painting, not so much basing, which makes me sad because, well, I love basing. So we got to water again. Not tons of it, just enough of it to keep it flowing. Is this my... I'm going to throw a little bit of dark industrial out here. So this is more of a gray. There we are. And we'll get just a little bit more of our black soot out here too. Black soot. Move these off to the side. Come back here. You can see we're sort of focusing on these areas where, well, obviously we're going to have ourselves some darker stuff going on here. So brown, look at, we just mixed the black and whatever this is together. Makes us a nice little brown here. Again, we can take a sponge, can wipe some of that away. More of our brown. Let's throw a little bit of red in there too. Why not? Now this is a little different. Hear that sound? That is actually, remember that white Sculpey I was telling you about? That's just a little sheet of this white Sculpey that was carved. And again, check out Monday. Check out Monday's section, or session, because that really shows you how to do this. So Melite Renchu tries to do basing, but even from YouTube and Twitch, it's hard to find a lot of things that you show up. Yeah, it's just, I love basing so much. It makes me sad when people just, they say, well, yeah, we'll just take a grass tuft and we'll paint some rocks brown or gray, and there's our basing. And I say, oh man, but basing is fun. There's so much more. And it's not expensive, right? This is junk. This is quite literally, okay, we got something in the mail and it was packaged with this. I took this stuff and I turned it into this. This showed up in the mail. It was free. I didn't have to buy this. This is junk. I was going to chuck it in the garbage until I said, you know what? I wonder what's inside that packaging. And I dug this out of there. So, yeah. Basing doesn't have to be, well, look, we're picking stuff up off the ground, right? We're picking stuff up off the ground. We're just, we're doing sticks. We're doing leaves. Yeah, that's just leaves that I picked up off the ground. And you'll see these later. We cut those up with this little leaf cutter right here. Leaves laying on the ground become some supremely excellent basing material. This here, I'm not even going to bother painting that. I don't have to, because we've got ourselves some nifty stuff coming up. I can't wait for you to see it, because it's fabulous. This is the last area we got to do up here. I might need just a touch more of my black here. Touch more. No, we don't have to give that a spritz. We don't have to give that a spritz. We're just going to get some water on that. Get some of our brown here. Get some black over here. Touch of red over here. Maybe a bit more black over here. Yeah, I like how this just sort of mixes itself together. And we can start to do some, almost like we've got the stains right going down the side of it. Oh look, Mr. Sponge comes back. Can wipe some of this away. We've got some cut up sponges too. Ah, here they are. So you can cut up the sponges, smaller sponges. Thanks, Gobotron. There's something about basing that every single minute, no matter how small it is, it could be a little halfling, it just becomes a diorama. Now we do have to let this dry for just a couple of minutes, and that's perfect timing to show you something like this. Okay, what do we got? Sticks, right? Now I did sculpt the mushrooms here, and that is actually, this is some of this is on YouTube. The painting of him, this was that's on YouTube, but stuff like the sculpting of the mushrooms and oh, look at this, Vellum Plants, right? That's actually one of the Patreon videos. I sculpted this too. That's just a dead stick that was sitting out in front of her house. I stepped on it. I stepped on it and I went, well, if I can step on it, I'm going to take it. So here's another example of just sticks and bark. This is the latest Dark Sword tutorial right here. I just filmed this one on Tuesday. Now let's see. The Baron says, "I love to see the basing. I love to see basing. Might be weird. I watch building also." Let's see. The green silver. Okay, we got that one there. Oh, and Sakaya gets to catch a stream live. Like Xander says, reduce, reuse, recycle. Let me see. Oh, and thank you so much. Let's see.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gum jar.
Roger, and I'm gonna need some help pronouncing that one. I'm just gonna say Sealeds. I'm gonna shorten that. Remember that white Sculpey I just showed you? See how you can carve that? Look at that. There's a little sticky wicket flying around, lands on his little Sculpey base. That same white Sculpey, look, we just painted some marble on there. Is that not quite similar to what we did here? It's very much the same thing. Sibstorm, the painting time on that video was about 2.5 hours or so. Now, obviously, there's prepping the figure and all that kind of stuff. Now, here's another, taking it kind of to the extreme. So, there's some more of our marble basing. And again, what is that? It's this. It's a sheet of this. Let's look at some more versions of that while we let our thing break. Let's see. Nix asks, have you ever tried using Bondic? It's a UV cure plastic. That's something I might have to give a shot. Oh, speaking of Renru. She must have heard her name. Speaking of Renru, be sure to give Renru the follows. Now, let's look at some basing over here. So this is my most recently completed army painting series for the Patreon page. All of those bases made out of Sculpey. But you can see there's a little different theme on the paint. Look at that. See the freehand that we painted on there? It's the exact same material. Doesn't that tell you a story? And oh, by the way, they were all painted in oils. Now here is more Sculpey. That's a whole different genre. That's Sculpey. That's just baked Sculpey right there. Now let's get into some. Where are my? I'm just going to find some of my Lord of the Rings figures here. Oh well, you want to see some more Reaper figures? Boom. Those are all bones. That like the super flexible, nasty plastic bones. That's all those are. Just bones. See, look, we gave them a little bit of aquarium plants there. Again, we did some leaves, some flock. When you do a little tree bark again, right? Very simple. So there's your Cypher Lord's bases, just like the one I was showing you here. That's an entirely different look, but it's the same material. It's just Sculpey. Well, let's go to some desert basing here. Look at that, was the first time actually I used a resin plaster for that. That was really neat. Now let's see. Nixel, those bases do not complete a circle. I have done bases for multiple figures that also like go together. Let's see. Renrest, how thick do you do that sheet of Sculpey? I use variable sheets. Now the stuff that you put in the pasta maker, well, that's going to be pretty much the same thickness, but I also roll it out flat to make it much thicker, and I'll show you some thicker sheets of it too. Here's another example of look at that. It's the exact same method. Literally, it's the same as the Sisters of Battle. One is painted blue with swans. The other one is painted green with Celtic insignia. Oh, and we might have done a little bit of freehand on those horses. There's more Sculpey bases. Army of the Dead, Sculpey. Morgul Knights, more Sculpey bases. And look at that. That's that same crushed glass snow. Same crushed glass snow. Now this is going to combine. There's Sculpey bases. See those flaming? See the flames down there? That was sculpted with the same stuff we just used for snow. Do I have a preferred for cracking earth? Actually, the GW stuff doesn't work too bad. And I also combine it with the Green Stuff World Crackle Paste. So same Sculpey sheet. This is the most extreme version right here. So I was telling you, you asked if they go into a circle. That's a unit of 12 guys. I did 5 of those. So there's 5 units of 12 guys. That's 60 of those on painted Sculpey bases that all go together. Now look at some more snow effects. There's some more Sculpey basing. Now we're going to see some more snow effects here and tree bark. Those are all painted in oils. Actually, we did those at ReaperCon last year. There's tree bark and snow effects. See more of that marble basing? Does that not create some pretty nifty effects? Actually, those were done with some contrast paints there. Oh, actually, wait a minute. You should, let me see if you can see these here. There we go. Very simple. It's the same Sculpey, but look, you paint it a little bit different. Motor City Ray, that is a Dark Sword figure. Let me see. Do you use water slides? Nix, I tend to stay away from the decals because, oh my gosh, they are just painful. A 1/48 scale Stuka, I actually just painted on all the insignia. It was easier. At least to me, it was easier doing that than trying to deal with the water slides. I have done those because sometimes you just have to. I think I have I have an SDK 222 and I think a 232 that both have the. Yeah, I kind of just went standard with those and used the decal sheets. Now let's see, how thick do you make the Sculpey? Do you use water slides? Oh, well, that's very handy. So Avocado Kids wants to see with this holy fire. We'll check that out in just a second. I just realized I forgot an area here. And we're still letting this dry a little bit. However, we wanted to see different thicknesses of Sculpey. Just let me dig this out here. Now this is the standard size that comes out of a pasta maker, right? However, you can roll it out thicker than this. So you can make it thicker, or you can make it thicker than that. So we may be painting this one either later tonight or tomorrow. This is probably what we'll be painting tomorrow. Yes, we're still going to be going tomorrow night, folks. Look at that monster sheet of Sculpey right there. And look at this. And look at this. This is that same thinner sheet of Sculpey, but we just layered it. So this is that's another Bones miniature, I think. Yeah, that's a Bones 5, I think.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun.
Thank you so much for the follow, Monkey Ninja. All right, now we also... Now these are the Green Stuff World texture rollers. All right, check that out. We're going to show you an even more extreme version of that, and you can watch some of this on the YouTube channel. That's 9 Dark Sword miniatures. See that? The same mosaic tile? Those columns, that's carved Sculpey. That's a cylinder of Sculpey carved. Yeah, and then you can, there's some basing videos on the YouTube channel, or on my Patreon page that show how that works. Now, let's get to my sisters over here, because someone wanted to see some of these sisters. So let's get to them real quick here. This is a project from 2014. And you're going to see some more of that crazy basing again. More, see the same kind of basing there. Now the banner is actually just a piece of paper. See how that iconography just sort of repeats over and over again. Oh, wait a minute. What's this thing? What could that possibly be? That's about 3.5 feet tall. That's made out of pink foam. The same stuff that this little diorama is made. The thing we're painting right now. It's the same stuff. And yes, there are 39 stained glass windows there. And this is the perfect little segue to this. This is also a sheet of Sculpey with the main character of the army. Oh wait, there she is again on a sheet of Sculpey. But wait, she's there again in that little book. So Sculpey, basing. Let's see how much more you can do with that. It's all Sculpey. Now that's almost dry. There is one last base that I think might be fun for you. Here we go. This was also another Patreon page tutorial here. So that is Sculpey with some skulls on there, and we did an epoxy sculpt, kind of a tree root there. So that is more Sculpey basing. Now this, we're just going to start putting some stuff on here. We got some lighter material here. And let's paint some different rocks. Let's paint some rocks here. Or some stones. I mean, aren't stones just rocks? That's just genius level right there. That is genius level thought. Let's see. Sorry if I missed it, but can I ask how you made that bridge? This was made out of pink foam. There we go. This was in some packing that came in the mail, and I just sliced these up into little stones. Now this is a piece of Sculpey right here, because the foam, well, you can't super glue foam, but you can super glue Sculpey. And our red dragon, oh, he's going to sit up there. Well, we haven't determined that's his color yet, but that's what he is. He's from Dark Sword. See how we're changing the color of our stones here. And this is still the Green Stuff World liquid pigments here. Let's do this rock a little lighter. Let's get this one over here too. Again, we can change the color. Let me see. Then you just, yep, Renru. Once it is baked, and now this is the gray extra firm here. You can break it, you can carve it, you can do all kinds of stuff to it. Let me see. Zombiever, let's see. I'm going to need you to paint one of those pictures of a sister on some of the purity seals. That book wasn't small enough. Actually, that was done, Oh, hey, Mose. How are you doing? I don't know if you saw one of the Sister Repentia there, but she had one of those purity seals, and actually we did paint the main character on one of those purity seals because you got to do something like that. That the character has to be everywhere. She's like the saint. She has to go everywhere. I won't do every single one of these because we would like some variety with them. We might even do a few of these. We'll do some lighter, we'll do some darker, but I'm not going to sweat too much the painting of these because we have so much that's coming in the way of foliage. I mean, we got like a lot of stuff coming here in the way of foliage. Especially here in our water. So all of a sudden that doesn't look quite so red, and guess what? When we put our paint down there, or all of our landscape materials, it's going to change again. I can even push this around with my finger here. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. So I can make it a little bit more gray. Again, that's the craft brush doing its thing. Oh, no problem, Renru. Yeah, and like I said, check out the YouTube channel for those waterfalls so you can see more of the water effects. Check it out for the snow effects. I do believe the painting of the Grey Knight bases, that's just a YouTube video right there. Look at that. And this is literally junk. It was stuff that I was about to throw in the garbage until I just thought, you know what? I wonder what's inside this packaging here. And I just found a treasure trove of pink foam that was actually a little bit stronger than the typical pink foam.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you so much for the follow, Tammy Designs. That is appreciated. We'll get ourselves some of our, I think this is the dark industrial here. So there's the light industrial, there's dark industrial, there's the black soot, and then there's white. They also have a full set of rust pigments. So we did our T28 here, our captured finish T28. That was all done with the same, and you can watch this video on YouTube right now. That one's actually on YouTube. You can see we've used it for desert, we've used it for winter. Now we're effectively going to be using it on something that's basically a jungle type of a piece here. What the heck, let's just paint that one up. Maybe we leave these a little bit darker. Let's hit a couple of our stones down here. Just make a couple of them lighter. It just, this stuff, it's doesn't have to be expensive to look neat, and you can make it, it's strong enough. It's gonna hold up that dragon, that's for sure. Because Sculpey on top. We put that Sculpey on top, that's the key. Do we want to make these any lighter? Yeah, I'll make a couple of them lighter here, like this one. Just pick out a few. If I feel like making them darker later, I can always do that. The Sculpey is so easy to carve. Wood carving tools are just fantastic for it. Oh, we have Thistle in the house. How are you doing? I think we are pretty much caught up now on the chat. And I don't really want to get too much with painting the darker lines in here because I'd rather let the foliage do the talking there. I would much rather let the foliage do the talking. And we'll just get some lighter stuff here on these rocks. Because this is all going to be overgrown. Why in the world am I going to be wasting a whole bunch of time painting something? Well, then we're just going to cover with foliage anyways. And we'll go back just a second here. We'll look at some other examples of that. So, well, this, you can bet I didn't spend a whole lot of time painting those rocks, because look at what we did. Look at what we put over the top of this. We got water effects on there. We got all this foliage stuff. Most of it's covered. I did not spend much time painting that at all. And same thing on these two. I barely spent much time at all painting the rocks, because look what's covering the rocks. Don't you want to see that? You want to see the foliage. You don't want to see the rocks. We did a little bit of light and dark on the rocks, but other than that, nope, not much more than that. We wanted to see these leaves. See those leaves buried underneath the water there? Looks like it's kind of a, well, like a pond or something like that. That is the same effect we want to do here. We want to do that here too. Now this stuff, you can see on the palette, it kind of does some weird color changes and stuff. That's just the nature of the pigment, the nature of the beast. Now let's see. Wait a minute. First of all, that's in, now was that out west, or was that in Eddie Head or something like that? Where was the, first of all, where was the game played? Second of all, was it like a 50-mile-an-hour wind? When's the last time the Bulldogs didn't give up like less than 75 points? Avocado asks, what did I use to sculpt the...
Spark my ganja.
Oh, folks, Witchborn. If this is the Witchborn that I think it is, check out the Witchborn game, because if you got Reaper Bones, Witchborn is for you. And Corey, if that's you, feel free to post some links to Witchborn there in the chat. If that is you, and I do believe it is. Let's see, how do you stick Sculpey to the foam? That was done with super glue, because underneath this is painter's tape. Because this is two pieces of pink foam right here. They were taped together, glued together. There's a piece of blue packing, painter's tape underneath this. So because there's blue painter's tape, I could stick super glue on there. It is. There we go. So folks, check out Witchborn. That is a really... how long have you been working on that, Corey? Since the original campaign? I mean, it's been a week or two you've been working on that. How many editions now are you into that? Let's see. So the Baron, let's see. Trouble with going to the art shop stream was breaking up. Which about 10 years. I thought so. I thought so. Let's see. Doing well. Whenever we get to see paint a base. Okay. I think we're all caught up there. Now I'm going to get some of that black back out here again. My black soot. Here it is. Just throw this right over here. Now it doesn't all have to be, big old brushes and everything. We can use something finer here. Let's see if this will do the trick. We got ourselves a little bit of a liner brush here now. Let's get some darker stuff going. It doesn't even have to be quite that dark. We'll just mix a little bit of red with... that's better. That's better. Let me see. Trouble going to bed, about 10 years. Started back when we played Deadlands. That's going back a long, long ways. Oh my goodness. That is a long time ago. That is many 29th birthdays ago, as we say here in Wappelville. And you can see now this looks a little bit more like maybe some ground in here where there's exposed, where the stone has been taken away. I'm also curious how you sculpted the brick shapes. Actually, Princess Zelda, just watch Monday's stream, and you will see exactly how that was sculpted. Because where's our one guy here? I'm gonna see if I can't find him. He's around somewhere. Here we go. We did the exact same carving right here. So you can watch, go check out Monday's session. That's how it was carved. Like I said, on Monday we did 22 bases, and we did every imaginable type of base that I could squeeze into a, what was that, a 7-hour stream? Something like that. Let's see, it was, oh, was it Metricon? So was it wasn't like raining and tornadic? How the heck was that score that low? That's insane. No problem. Oh, let's see. It's the red-green. It's red-green coat. Now here again, all I'm just trying to do is make this a little bit darker to serve as a backdrop. I want to fill this in again. And another one over here. So I'm just going to water this down. Like so. Let's maybe get a couple of darker stones in here. We got plenty of light ones. So some darker ones. Let's make this one darker too. And this is, remember, this is just an acrylic thing. It is water. It's water-based. I'll make that one darker. Let's make another darker stone over here. Okay, I can just use my fingers if I wanna. We want some of these little streaks here, right? Now that this is lighter here. Oh, look, these streaks are going to start to show up more. It's a nice little weathering streak. We can take our fingers, push that down around some more. Oh, and pink foam paint's really nice, by the way, just in case somebody's wondering. Let's see, how did the water effects look after drying somewhat on the one I worked on earlier? So Don, are you asking about the snow one? I think you're probably asking about the snow one. We can check that one out. Actually, we're just we're gonna have to let this one dry just for a little bit too before all of our more of our weathering or more of our terrain goes on it. So we will check that one out. Actually, we could check out both of them. We could check out the waterfall and our wonderful snow base. All right, so this thing here, maybe that should have some staining on it here. We could even, if we wanted to, we could paint some cracks in the rocks like this. It's whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you. Oh, let's see it. Well, that's the kind of kicking accuracy I would expect from the Bulldogs. That's just the kind of kicking accuracy I would expect. 13 behinds. Yep. Let's see. I just keep thinking of the Canadian show Red Green. Oh, the waterfall one. Yeah, we'll check them both out. We'll check those both out. And as you can see, I don't really fret about using my fingers, using my hands. It doesn't bother me at all. All right, so we've got those working. With what's left of this, we are going to do some more of our stains here. Let's get this one too. Give him some stains. And do we do any more? We'll wait on anything else. Oh, here, this is a good place to do some little cracks. See if we can just get some regular paint out here. It is a little bit easier to do stuff like that with regular paint. So let's get ourselves a smaller brush here. Let's maybe paint some cracks in here. Now the dragon might be covering some of these, but it is what it is. Yep, Al, we're back on the bridge. We had a raid from Reaper that happened just moments in. I was just about to start on this, and then there was the big raid. So we said, well, maybe we'll do that snow first. So cracks, not difficult. Not difficult at all. In fact, I'm going to use that little bit of water right there to make the paint flow even more. The dragon's going to be stomping on this stuff, so really won't spend a whole lot of time fretting about it. There's some more of our black. You might even get more separation between these stones. They're sculpted separately, but I want to bring some of that out. A little bit of that out now that we've done that. Do we have any? Yeah, we have some of this left. We could even do something like this. Maybe we bring out a little bit of some of these stones here. We don't want to highlight every single one of them, but maybe just a little bit. Like I said, just this one's sticking out here. Maybe that catches a little bit of a highlight there. This one is sort of sticking out. Maybe part of that catches a highlight. So Al, I hope that it's been a good day for you. Yeah, I started this a little bit earlier than originally planned. Just, well, for reasons. I know it was supposed to be more like around this time when we started, but it just sort of worked out that way. So I didn't mean to surprise folks with an early start. I know I said it was going to start more like 10 o'clock Central. So, there we go. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother putting any paint down there because foliage is going to happen. And with all that foliage, no point in wasting time painting. So let's look at so this is almost cured. It's almost cured. You can see we got a lot of transparency. Obviously this is going to take a couple of more hours. That's almost cured right there. You can see a lot of this you can't even see anymore because it is cured so much. We can see our foamy. So now we get to see that's the Valhalla Blizzard that we added to our water effects. So you see how it's got that foamy look to it there? Actually, let's see what our icicles look like over here. You see how some of those are starting to get transparent? Now that one's going to take the longest, but actually the little icicle on this branch over here where my finger is, that's already totally transparent. Look at these. You can barely see it because now it's transparent. And our snow effects have settled up pretty nicely. And that's going to be a nice rock hard snow texture. Let's see, got the initial layer of oils on the mini. How much time is the prep glaze layer workable? It could be workable for hours. Sometimes I can still work mine 3, 4, 5, 6 hours later. It will depend on how thick you put that on. Oh, thanks, Don Mac. That's the Liquitex Heavy Gel, Al, at doing just so many amazing things. Oh, thanks, thanks, Corey. Actually, I missed the Liquitex Heavy Gel does water, does ice, does fire, does all kinds of stuff. It pretty much does it all. It can do everything. So we're going to put some of these guys off to the side now that we have used those. And now it's time for some foliage. And again, This is a lot of what was on the base, just bulletin board cork, that paste right there. Go back and watch Monday's session. You will see all the fun basing stuff. I'm gonna put these guys away. We need to create some space here now. I don't think we need our water spritzer either. However, what we are gonna need, we have leaves. Start to gather up some foliage here. We got all kinds of foliage. We got more foliage. We have more foliage. Oh, look, we have more foliage. But wait, there's more foliage. Now we won't use those. Do we have some other nice tall stuff here? I think that should just about do it. Oh, wait. There's more. There's this stuff. Now, this is from Woodland Scenics. I just get this on Amazon. But look at all these nice little miniature trees inside. I mean, they're quite literally miniature trees. I mean, look at that. This is what model railroaders use for trees. And look where we use that already. Here's a couple of bases that show how to use that. So this is the session from before. There's that same material you just saw. And here, we just added that to some dried foliage. It would just look like yellow water or orange water. So I just paint it because it's a million times easier. And it'll just look like orange water if you try doing that. Now, maybe if you're doing some kind of, let's say you want to do a toxic waste or something like that, add this to the heavy gloss gel. Now you got something that I think you would like all by itself. So I would give that a shot if you're looking for some kind of toxic waste. Mix something like this in there. It's just a fluorescent paint, or you could mix in some fluorescent green. So give that a shot. I think you'll like that much better. Let me see. They look like a toxic sludge. Now, this stuff here, let's move this off to the side. It's really interesting because you just literally yank this off here. But instead of a little short, tiny tuft, look at how tall that is. That is nice and tall, which means, oh look, that could go over here. In fact, that's where that stuff's going to go. Now we got a couple of things planned for that. So let's start to think about what are we going to do with this foliage. Let's start to rip out some pieces of this. So we got ourselves some nice little clumps of it here. We've also got some of our shrubbery here. We have to think. So we're going to be doing water down here. That's going to get a little different treatment. But up here, we want to have some kind of plants, right? Now he is going to be sitting right there. I'm going to throw the blue tack back on there because, well, we need to see the impact of that on him. So I'm just going to blue tack him back on here. It might look a little strange, but there, we'll just blue tack him back on there. Because I want to see how does that look behind him, because see how that's almost the same height as him? That means this needs to be shorter. We don't want it to be the same height as him, so we're going to make this shorter with Mr. Scissors over here. We've done our scissor races for the day, so now we're just going to use our scissors to cut up some of our foliage here. Couple places we could put. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna put some of this right here. We're gonna put another clump over here. So I'm gonna save that clump for over here, and we're gonna put this somewhat taller clump right over here. Now somewhere, hopefully I might still have it. I thought I still had my little pokey tool there, but I guess there it is. You might recognize this, all the Reapercon folks. There's a pokey skull. They haven't caught any foliage placement yet, so I am ready. All right. This is nice soft bulletin board cork, which means I can just kind of go in here. I can even see the pink from the foam right there. Now I can't use super glue here because that's going to melt the pink foam. We don't want melted pink foam. That's no good. So there's a couple of different types of glue we could use. You could use Elmer's glue, wood glue. Actually, this Luke's APS fast drying glue is kind of nice stuff here. Let's just get some of this out here. Now I am going to free this up here. There we go. Where's my... this is my little bundle right here. My little bundle of joy. Sometimes I've even postulated of maybe just gluing those together before sticking in it, but there we go. Quick clump of foliage right there. Now this stuff back here, well, let's try a different type of foliage now. And I know this stuff has really good adhesion, so we're just going to once again use our little pokey tool here, and we're going to pull some of this off. Nice little piece right here. I'm going to place this right over there. Now you can see why we weren't fretting about color. Because if this had a whole bunch of colors, well, all of this greenery and everything else that we're putting on here now, what's the point? What's the point of all this greenery if we're just going to cover it up anyways? Now I could even add a little more of this here. I can add my clump over here maybe. Now where's that short one that we had? A nice little short one. You know what? I'm going to make that even shorter here. But this time I can use super glue because that is just bulletin board cork. And we're back to our cheap Mo super glue like we used earlier. Now we're going to take him out of the way here because I need to be able to get at this. So look at that. We've got ourselves two completely different sized tufts there. We could potentially even use this. See how that almost looks like ivy right there? Almost looks like some kind of actually, that's kind of neat. That could be interesting. I'm going to give that a shot here, just because. If it doesn't stick, I can always just take it off. But there we go. So that kind of follows that line. Let's see what other kind of tufts I'm sure we want to get some tufts over here. Do we want tufts of grass or tufts of this? I think we need a tuft of that over here somewhere. Now, we don't have to worry about the height of our character, right? Let's see. Monster Painter asks, I love the brick tones. Did I hear you say that it is XPS foam? It is your typical insulation foam. Now, I have used, where is it here? See if I can grab you a sheet of it. This is actually my favorite right here. I use this instead of foam core because foam core, when you paint it, it warps. This doesn't warp. And I will show you a few things that I made out of pink foam here. So, let me see, so that was made entirely out of that pink foam you just saw. That entire construction was made out of pink foam. the entire thing, well, obviously except for the stained glass windows. There's your interior of it. So it's all made out of pink foam. Now we've got something else here too. Oh, there we go. That is the same pink foam. That is my Monte Cassino display board right there. And I carved it. You can see I put some texture in there. There's archways in there. All the broken stuff, that is actually plaster. And you can, there's about a 5-part series on the blog where you can see how that was done. Now, we said these tufts were too close to his height. Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore because from here we can't see him. Literally, we can't see the guy from here. When you're doing dioramas, you got to think about that. It's composition, right? So we can have a bit, look at this. We can have a big tuft right here because now it's not going to be 2 tufts of the same size. We got smaller tufts over here, right? So what do we need to do? We need to poke ourselves a hole into our, and that should be, that's bulletin board cork. Yep. This means that I can super glue over here. That means I can get some super glue into this. I'm just going to dig myself out, literally. I just dug out some of the bulletin board cork there. I'm just trying to create a solid foundation with this big old tuft. That it might be a little interesting trying to get that in there, but we'll give it a shot. We're just going to trim that down. All right, super glue. Stick this in here. Ah, look at that. Spread it out just a bit. This is the other thing I like about this super glue is that it's going to stick in there. Look at that. Now we got ourselves a nice little tuft over on this side, and we are going to complete that, I think. We haven't forgotten this stuff here. Oh, we have definitely not forgotten that. Let me see if I've got some more. I've got some other smaller clumps here too. Here's a nice little clump of it. We could put this over here too. However, I think I want something a little bit shorter. Something like this. And that's just going to go right here. Something like that. So, our super glue again. Now, I can super glue this because, well, there's paint on it. So that's not going to melt anything. And the idea that this clump is going to give that a little bit of support. We're always thinking about supporting all of these different clumps here. Where else do we want some of the... So we still have our foliage, our grass clumps here that we can use. We'll grab this. That's a nice one right there. And maybe this one. Just going to go right in here. How many times has grass grown out of your sidewalk? I know it's growing in ours. So it's 3 different colors, 3 different textures, color, texture, all the good stuffs. We want that. We want all the color and all the texture. Now, do we want flower tufts? Maybe not. Maybe no flower tufts. But we want to get a couple more of these guys. I'm going to get a couple more of these guys in here somewhere. So once again, I am going to be looking for my highly technical term of pokey tool. This is bulletin board cork. So that means some super glue can find its way into there. Where's our, there's our hole right there. Now let's see if we can get this stuck in there without too much damage to it. Now that looks like a little piece of tree right there. Let me see. Oh, thanks, Monster Painter. Let's see. The Wappel Chapel. It houses the Wappelites, followers of Wappel, the purveyor of oils. Let's see. Sorry if you covered it already. Are the bricks on that hand sculpted? So this was just sculpted or carved. Sorry. Let me get my Sculpey piece here. So this is just a piece of flat white Sculpey that was carved because we've got that red dragon that has to, well, I keep saying red dragon, but this dragon that's got to sit on here, and we needed more support for him because I think you can see the holes drilled in his feet. So that had to be stronger. This, well, that doesn't support anything. That's just the fascia stones. That is just the pink foam. That's all that is. Just the pink foam. Now I am going to get maybe a couple of more tufts, some of the smaller tufts here. I'm going to position these. Oh, one right over here. And I see I got another one that I can throw right there. Again, going to give that some, spread that out a little bit. So all of a sudden my rocks, you can start to see why I wasn't sweating painting those, right? It was not that important. It's going to get less important now as we start to add even more of our foliage. So where is he going to stand? Okay, so his feet, I'm just looking here, where do I not want to be putting a whole bunch of foliage? Alright, I can see where I don't want a bunch of foliage now. I would like some over here. Now, a couple of things I can do. I could try to have some of this coming out of here, or do I just have some of the grass growing out of here? And I'm going to see what happens when I just try to have some grass growing out of there. So we're just going to pull this out of here. This is a little bit stronger, basically. Ah, look at that. Let's see if we can get some smaller bits and pieces of this. There's a smaller bit. That's is that not starting to look overgrown? John Setzer, actually most of the tufts are from gamer's grass. So right there, gamer's grass, gamer's grass, gamer's grass. This is from Woodland Scenics, and this is from Green Stuff World. Let's see. Oh, Cat Herder is just, oh yeah, your pasta extruder and your Amazon cart for making Sculpey sheets. Let me see. TJ asks, are the bases primed with the same primer? There is only one primer, just like there is one true brush. There is only StinoRes. Everything else ain't primer. It's liquid with color. It's not primer. This stuff right here, it sticks to everything. Everything that I have primed over the last 13 years has been with StinoRes. We have some Vallejo primer that we mistakenly bought. That gets used for like priming trees and plaster because I really don't care because that's terrain. That's about the limit of its usefulness, unfortunately, because that is some nasty stuff. Now we're gonna just throw ourselves another little tree over here, I think. Yeah, I like the idea of another little tree there. So now the wonderful thing about these is they have capillary action. The less than wonderful thing is you go through them real quick, but they don't cost a bunch. So let's just get ourselves another one going here. Where is here it is. We're just going to fire up another tube of our super glue here real quick. going to do the same little trick here. Look at, see those little drops of super glue? And what that's going to do, that is going to sink down. I'm going to throw just a couple more drops in there. A few more drops in there. Might even give that a drop of super glue. Couple of drops right here. So all of that super glue, that's helping to strengthen this. Let me see. I think we've got basing leaf cutter strips, and there we go. There's a bunch of your links, folks. Hopefully that answers the question there, John. It's time for, oh, look at this. This, I've been really anxious, actually, for this. I really wanted to see this foliage get into here. See how it's starting to look nice and overgrown here? Oh, thanks, Phantom. Thanks. To me, this is just a blast. I absolutely love doing this. It is messy. It is definitely messy, but all the while that I was making this with the pink foam, it just looks like pink foam. It just looks really weird. But this is what I was waiting to see. I was waiting to be treated to all of that. Now here's, oh, this is just a perfect piece that can go right here. And guess what? I can super glue that. Thank you so much, Edie Spaghetti. And believe it or not, we ate spaghetti earlier today. That is no joke. Look at this. Some tree foliage here now, maybe. Ah, look at this piece. Look at this. Look at that little tree. Look at that sweet little tree. Now, this is pink foam, so sadly can't super glue that. But we are gonna grab our pokey tool here. We're gonna make a hole for this. We'll grab, wood glue also works well, but this stuff, it dries shockingly fast, and it is pretty darn strong. All right. We will hope that we could stick this in here without breaking it too much. It doesn't always work that way. Now I can hit it with a little bit of super glue and basically join these two together. There.
So say we all.
No, thank you so much, Monster Painter, for the subscription. And look at this, Wappelies can go wild because there's no way to stop them. There's just rocks. There's just rocks. Oh well. He almost, look at, I mean, he's like, there's nobody here. There's nobody here. And all of a sudden, well, out of nowhere, somebody appears. We want to use these little tiny tufts. These are from Gamer's Grass. I really do like these, but I think I got to go with these guys because it is a little bit more of a green type of a foliage. Where's our lady here? See those little tiny tufts right there? That's the same exact, look at that. It just kind of frames their rock. Remember, there was 5 different companies where the stuff. Gamer's Grass, Woodland Scenics, Wicked Elf, Green Stuff World, tons of different products here. Tons of different products. Well, let's just start playing with some of these tiny little tufts. And sometimes it gets a little bit hilarious, but so I just put one right there. See how it looks like it's kind of growing right out of that crack there? See if we can find a somewhat, well, larger is relative on this, but all right, that's a little bigger. Ah, look at this. There's a hole right there. Now it's got some grass growing out of it. Let's do some more with our tufts here. We're just going to start filling in some of these areas. And out here, I still want to get some more grass out there. And I will suggest, I know I've suggested a few times already, but I love basing, which is why on the Patreon page, we've been trying to keep a tally. There's at least, well, I know there's 50 basing videos of various types there. Look at this. Because you can see I have an unhealthy, I've been told I have an unhealthy obsession with freehand, object source lighting, non-metallic metal, and basing. I have unhealthy obsessions with those things. So that's why we do so many videos on them, because I pretty much love it and can't get enough of it. Even when little things like this want to be persnickety, I'm going to keep after you till you get on there. I will be relentless. I'm not giving up. Well, let's find a small one here. This could be fun. I don't even know you can see this. But we got a gap here. Yeah. Look at this. There's a grass tuft growing right out of the little crack in between those stones right there. So TJ, whether it's oils or acrylics or anything, there is one true anti-shine. This is actually the only paint product that we use from Army Painter. The tufts and stuff, we like those, but this is all I will ever use, because I can brush this on for one thing, and it works on everything. It doesn't matter if it's oils or anything like that. It is all the same. As Mel says, unhealthy. Ah, Mo's had spaghetti too. John Sitzer, time to spend some money again. So you can really see how this is starting to look overgrown, right? But before it just was like, okay, yeah, there's some color on there. It looks kind of neat. We see some bricks, we see some stones. But now that we add this, haha, this is just the thing I've been wanting for a long time. These little tufts right here, these are sweet. So again, these are from Gamer's Grass. I spy with my little eye a spot right there for one. And we're not done yet, because we're going to be putting some even finer stuff down into some of these other cracks here of the stones. We're just kind of getting started. Oh, you know what? I'm wondering, can I get something like that to be growing out of there? Maybe that's a little too much. It would be fun, but I think it'll just be easier to get a grass tuft on there. Maybe one this size. And I'm spying this little crack right there. Yes. Look at that. Just stick it right out of the little stone. This is why when I was putting these together, I didn't care if they fit nicely, because that's what I wanted to do, is have all those grass tufts and everything. Oh, hey, Lime. Yeah, I think, well, you got to see the sculpting part of this. Now you get to see this part of it. And, oh, this is so much fun. So the other thing, what did I want to say about this type of stuff right here? It is a little bit of a chess match, I want to say, because this is what I had in my mind when I was literally just chopping up pieces of pink foam. I mean, when you see this, you don't think all of this, but that's what was in my head when I had these little chunks of pink foam here. I had to think, this is what it's going to look like. I know some folks, they really want to see that finished result right away, and it's just kind of hard for them to just visualize what is something going to look like after all of the The ugly parts are done, if you want to call them that. To me, there are no ugly parts. Do I want to do another little... Yeah, you know what? And here, because that's scopy, I can actually use super glue on that. So, super glue time. Some super glue. And here's a little foliage chunk right here. Combining all the foliage, all the chunks. Now that sounds interesting. Do I got... there's a nice one. That is a nice big tuft right here. If I can just get this sucker off of here. I got a nice place for it right over here. It might take a couple of attempts. Almost gotcha. There we go. Well, there it was. Might need to put some glue there. I might have lost the stickiness of it. Actually, well, he's just going to live right there. But I am going to throw some glue there now, knowing that maybe there's not enough for it to attach to. So there's a little bit of glue. I mean, there's more where that one came from. And I got a nice big one right over here. There we go. So that big old crack right there, wasn't worried about it. I just figured, hey, guess what? It's a perfect place for some of my foliage to go. In fact, there's another big old crack right here. Let's see if I can get some of this in here. Now, some of it's going to just fall away. And sometimes foliage just fall away, but I just wanted some right in here. Draconic Visions, how are you doing? What is the base under it? That's just a wood plaque. And there's several different types. I just get them from either Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Dick. This is from Dick Blick, this top one. The bottom one here is from Hobby Lobby. Actually, I got to get me a bunch more of those. I don't know. I can shoot them a message to see when they might be refilling stuff. I can just imagine that just in general, shipping of anything these days is kind of in chaos. I'm going to throw another little tuft right there. Let's get a couple more tufts on the top. Here's another bigger one. Well, bigger is relative. So I also have on, well, I think it's on the Patreon page right now, but I also have some videos on how to make your own grass tufts because, well, sometimes they're hard to find. Now, it's not the exotic stuff necessarily like this, but it is videos on how to make grass tufts. And I'm going to be doing one on, I think I also have one on flower tufts. I could be wrong, but if I don't, I'll be making one. Look at that. I can throw a few underneath there. They might be kind of hard for you guys to see. But before we do any more with tufts, let's do a different material here. Let's just set our tufts off to the side for now. We love our tufts, but we're going to set those off to the side. Because we want to do something a little bit different here. And we've got some fun other materials to try. Like this right here. So this is from Luke's APS. They make dozens of these. This is their forest floor cover. So look at all of the different colors in there. Is that not fantastic? But wait, there's more. This is their pine forest. So I think we're going to be using this because it's got, look at all the greens in there. Look, it has rocks in it. Look at all this. That is fantastic. We might use maybe some combinations of these. I'm just going to get this where I can reach it. There's more. This is basically like a trail cover right here. So if you just want something that looks like dirt, I mean, that's quite literally dirt there. That's called forest path. Yeah, forest path, forest floor cover. We've got some more here. And there's several of these. So that is a sawdust scatter earth ground. So that's a little bit more of a brown type of a color there. But we're not limited to just, well, okay, it's either that or nothing. We can combine it. Oh, by the way, painter's tape, resin. This painter's tape, I use it on terrain all the time. My pink foam, there's a lot of painter's tape underneath all of this stuff. There's painter tape lending this support. And also, let me super glue this on because there's painter's tape. Super glue and pink foam do not go together. I know there's safe glue for foam, but that safe glue is not also going to glue a miniature to it. Now remember, we've got our Woodland Scenics, bright green here. What if we were to take some of this? That's your brown sawdust. And what if we were to take some of this and combine the two together? Oh, look what we just made. That's two different textures, two different colors. Let's see, I'm going to add a bit more of the yellow to warm her up. Oh yeah, Baron, that really was a fun stream last night. Boogie Doogie Dog. Oh, welcome in. Now, this glue makes another appearance. Once again, we also need a little container to put this in. Right here. I just remember to put the top on that. And this glue, it's interesting because it gets sticky really fast, but you can thin this down. So I want you to see what happens when we thin this glue down, like a lot here. We're just going to get some water in here. Let's get just some more water. We'll mix this up. We really want to thin this down. This glue can be insanely thin, and yet it still has some serious holding properties. Oils are making it easy, just not sure if I should add more colors to the tile part. I'll check it out. Well, just send me some pics on Instagram like you did of the base before, and I can check that out. Now, where's that little liner brush that I was using before? I'm going to grab that. And we're really going to put some thin lines of glue in here. And I mean thin. I mean really thin little lines of glue in here. That's how thin that line is. See how it just kind of does that little capillary thing here? Look at this. See how it follows that? We won't do too much because we don't want the glue to dry before we have a chance to get our stuff in there. So there's your glue. And here's our fresh stuff right here. What are we going to do? I'm going to throw that over the top. Tap some of it away. Look what just got left into the cracks there. We could do just the straight up green if we wanted to. Now let's extend this a little bit. See how that, just look at how it's got that wonderful capillary action. Now maybe we'll use a bigger brush here to fill this out. Slightly bigger brush. And now we'll just use our straight up green here. And this is going to give us a little different look. You can even, if you want to kind of tamp that down a little bit. See, look at how it's starting to really fill this out. All of this stuff here that just, see, we got that crazy edge right there. We don't like that. Well, if we don't like it, how's about we just cover that? There's something we don't like. Just make it go away. And that should be all gone. And looking pretty darn natural in no time. Now you don't see that crazy edge right there where the Sculpey and the pink stuff didn't want to meet. It's all gone. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, that's all gone. I'm going to go down in here now. Some over a glue. So now I think this will really explain why I did not invest much in the way of time in painting any of this. Yeah, let's throw a little bit more of our green in there too. Look at that. We haven't even gotten to this yet. We're still having fun out here. We're still having fun out here too. The fun continues. Oh, we're not done with the fun yet. Because this is all I used to be able to do before I found those short tufts with the gamer's grass, but now that I found this stuff, I can do things like this. Look at that. All of a sudden, all those big, gigantic holes, they don't look quite so crazy anymore. Let me see. Let's see, was there a question? Let's see. What is the walkway made out of? Jumping back in late. So that's our white Sculpey. The kind that breaks real easy. We carve it real easy. It's the same stuff that we used on this on Monday. So go back and check out, where did you go? So you can go back and check out Monday's stream because we carved this exactly the same way we carved the stone texture in there. Let's see, that would be a great idea. I'm just looking here. Let's see. Doom. Viger Dragon, the glue should be from Luke's APS. Now you could, like I said, there is fast drying wood glue. That's really neat stuff. I actually like that a lot. But this, when you thin it down like this, just look at how it's just sticking down into these cracks here. Look at this. Oh, and by the way, this is a 000 brush that just was no good for painting anymore. It was just too beat up. So we repurposed it. Look at that nice line of glue we've got there. Guess what's going in there? Yep. Some of our flock. That went from, but now look at this. We've got tufts sticking out of here. This is so lovely and overgrown looking. Oh wait, we can do some more over here. Strange, I will be doing, I believe, tomorrow night because Kathy is going to be, she's doing her Discord thing with the gummy bear painting contest. So tomorrow, I can't say exactly when, somewhere maybe between 6 and 7 Central Time. Look at this. Look at how that just fills in those cracks. Is this not cool? Are you not entertained? Do this. Tap some of it away. Haha, look at this. Yes. All those big old crazy cracks are now filled in with stuff. We like them to have stuff in them. And we can continue this. Now you know why we didn't fret the painting part of this. Because is this not fun? I love this. I could do this all day. Well, actually I have been. Huh? That's not horrible. Oh, should we put some more? Ah, you know what? This that's gonna get a tuft of something. It's actually just gonna get one of these big tufts because I need something that's kind of strong over there. Where's my little pokey tool? Where did you go? We always need our little pokey tool for shrubs. That fills that out real nice. And we'll also fill this in here. Well, we can use a bigger brush for that. Bigger brush. Fill this out. Put our green in here. And like I said, if you want to make sure that it really has a chance to grip in there, you just press it. Ideal circumstances, maybe just leave it sit there. I don't, when I'm doing the streams, I don't really have that luxury of time, so. But again, different texture, different colors. Oh wait, what about this stuff up here? What if we wanted to maybe make some of these textures or some of these colors look the same? There's some of our green, and we are just going to dust that green right over the top of that piece of foliage. So we've made it even fluffier now. Like this piece here, what's to say I don't add some more? A little bit of glue, a little bit of green. Voila. A little glue, a little green, and now we're really starting to get this aged and weathered quite nicely. Let me see. Oh, thanks, Strange. Let's see. Is that the ground scatter? I presume. This is. Oh gosh, I think I can almost reach. Oh, I can reach it. I think I can reach it. It is called Blended Turf from Woodland Scenics. Now, that Luke's APS stuff that you saw earlier, that's what's going to go in here underneath our water effects there. But for right now, that's pretty much just the straight up blended turf there from Woodland Scenics. Oh, it's Achillodon. If you don't mind me going a bit off topic, is the Sculpey called the Primo. Also, is the old video on your YouTube still the right way to go about preparing it? That's if it's called How to Bake Your Sculpey, that is still how I bake my Sculpey today. Now, Primo, that is a different type of Sculpey. So there's the white and terracotta Super Sculpey. Then there is Sculpey. Then there is the pink Super Sculpey and we're talking about the boxes here, not those tiny little containers. And then there's the gray extra firm. Now, I just get mine on Amazon, but we used to get that at Michael's and at Hobby Lobby before we started getting things on Amazon. So that's where I get mine, is from Amazon. Now here, there's no actual line between these stones. I'm going to draw one. There's no separation between those. I just put that there. And then we'll let that sit there, and we'll pop some of it off. Look at how it stays in the cracks real nice. Let's see, everyone watch Troll in Central Park. This scene reminds me of when they fall down the tunnel and they meet the trolls for the first time. Oh, it's Tabletop Militia. Folks, let's welcome in our raiders. They're coming in at a really interesting time, aren't they? So, welcome raiders. We're doing ourselves a little bit of a diorama here. Oh, we got a Playgrat. Oh, and Nalind. How are you doing, Nalind? Folks, be sure to give Tabletop Militia and Nalind a follow, since she has also snuck in here. Oh, thanks, Motor City. Let's see, Everina. Let's see, I think I have that movie on VCR still. Well, we still have a VCR here. So, how are you doing, Nalind? And, of course, Tabletop Militia. Thanks again for the raid. We're just, we have been trying out so many different basing materials here. This is made out of cork, pink foam, actually Sculpey up top right here. Let's see, welcome in Raider. Let's see. Oh, and hey Steve B, how are you doing? And Papa Zaf. So this is what's going to go on top of our bridge here. That's our metal dragon there from Dark Sword, and somewhere around here, there he is. So our little Draconic mage, he's going to go over here. So that's his spot. So thank you so much, Steve, for the best wishes. Well, sometimes the materials keep changing so fast because I keep discovering new things. And I don't necessarily always know which one I'm going to use. Sometimes there's a material that you think is going to work fantastic, and you go, well, that didn't quite work the way I hoped. Or you just kind of see, you're like, yep, that's not going to work. Now, Al, you've watched some of the videos, right? Where I say, oh, I think we're going to be doing this. And then I get into it and I say, oh, you know what? That wasn't going to work, so we're not doing that. Also, it takes about 2 hours to get ready for every stream. And that would add more time to the getting ready process. So yeah, and unfortunately there's only so much prep I can do before each stream. And it really does genuinely take, aside from eating, the entire time I spent between the streams was getting ready for this one, believe it or not. And that's with no new graphics. Oh my god, that's scary. Alright, here we go. Look at that. Makes a nice little bridge right there. Let's see, good old changing gears. I meant, oh, in general, things that have continued to be mainstays. Yeah, I can try. It's just, it's almost, in some ways it's better if people ask, because then they can, it sort of generates more conversation, and people can really ask, okay, so what's that? Why are you using that? And then I can, that's why I always have things that I can kind of reverse gears and kind of go back to the beginning. Like with the oil painting, I'll always have something that I can kind of bring back from the start, I guess, because it is inevitable, and sometimes people don't always see lists, unfortunately. In fact, that happens quite often. And something, why, you know me, I'm always, there's so many different materials out here. It's really hard, unfortunately, to just have a list of things. I know that sounds a little crazy. So I'm just going to take some green here. Like, actually, I wasn't really intending to use this as quite as much on this thing, but oh my gosh, it's been handy. Here's another area. I could use some tufts over there, but guess what? It's just easier to do this. And it's way too hard to reach in there necessarily, and you couldn't see it. But, how's that? There we go. That greens that up very nicely. Another area of green. We need it out here too. What do we do? There we go. Yeah, that is I think we just kind of, even when I was doing the YouTube live stuff, there would just be people that came in, and I was like, okay, how can we get them caught up to speed on what just happened over the last 2 hours? Oh, what if we just had another whole new one that we could actually just show that starting process on? All right, there we go. Look at that. See how that fills this out? Now our shrubs that are sticking out on the end of this don't look quite so lonely anymore. Luna's Plague-Wrecked. She has to head off to bed. I will catch you later. Let's see. I want to get some darker stuff like that and do some moss. There is definitely... Oh, there's many different colors of that. There are many different colors. Oh, Nolin has to also go to bed. Well, thank you so much, Nolin, for hanging out. Now we got our one last... Let's see, what can we... Oh, gee whiz. I knew there was another area here that we needed some greenery. Like right here. Good grief. How could I forget this? However, it's going to be a different type. Slightly different type of greenery here. That's why we're really cranking in our glue. And let's not lose sight of this. So that's the pine forest. Now I will chuck a little bit of our green in there, but now we're going to do some of our pine forest here. And that's a whole nother texture. Look, we got rocks, sawdust, all kinds of different stuff mixing in there. I'm going to throw some in here too. This is going to support, remember we've got this our little tree branch thing that we threw in here. This is going to help support that. There, some rocks. And see how it kind of looks like dirt in there? Now, I'll catch you later, Tabletop Militia. Thanks again for the raid. We are going to be adding some leaves under the water over here. I'll get that rock bounced off of there. We'll finish off the sort of non-water areas here. I see we're going to need to throw some more of our Luke's APS out here. Gonna grab some more of this and we'll just dump that right into here. So we've got dirt, there's static grass in there, there's all kinds of stuff in there. Let's see, head out to lunch now. See you guys here if we're still here when I'm back. Oh yeah, there's much more going on. We're also going to be painting the figures that go along with this too. So catch you later, Sakia. I would like to maybe... Nah, I'll wait on that to get some more green there. One of our last big things too, and it'll be maybe a little difficult to see. We'll try and make that as visible for you as possible. Time for some more of our glue here. I'm gonna get me a little cleaner brush for this. Now this is not going to be quite so watered down. This is going to be a little bit more straight up glue here. And I will try to hold this where you can see it, but unfortunately the underside of this, now I think you can see it. Unfortunately I can't see it. Minor details. So I'm going to do this part first just to get it out of the way. Here's our other form. So that is our forest floor cover. Now you can see it. We're just going to dump all this stuff in there. Just going to dump it all on there. And see how that's got more of a dirt-like texture? You're going to see it even more on the stuff that's going to be closer where the light is. Now we're just about there. Now I think you can see this. I think you'll be able to see what's happening out here. Yep, because we're right on the edge of our rock there. Right to the edge of our wooden plaque. We'll just do that much. Pour this in. Maybe even a second round. And see how that looks. Look at the difference. So that's why we didn't bother to paint this at all. We did not bother to paint this at all. Let's see. Without water, there can't be any green. That's it, Dr. Feedgood. You ain't got the water. You ain't got any green. Shall we do a little bit more of our... Yeah. A little more of our glue in here. Now that's where maybe I go back in with something that's been thinned down so that it just kind of sinks into all of the crevices. You don't want to kill all of the rocks here. You want to cover them up entirely. Back to our ground cover here. It just looks like, well, dirt. Really nifty. Alright. Let's get these guys out of harm's way because we will knock those over, and that's going to generate some sad. Boy, that really holds nicely. Leaf time. Leaf cutters. Leaf cutters. Leaf cutters. Leaves. Leaves. There is a leaf. Huh, there's another leaf. So these are from Green Stuff World, and there's I don't even know how many of these are. There's so many of them. Now Princess has to head off to bed. Oh, thanks again, Princess Zelda. It was great having you here. Thanks for all the bitses and cheers and everything else, and the hosting. That's appreciated. So I think you can see what we did here. Now we must have used this one. Literally just a leaf picked up off the ground. Now I do suggest maybe you punch your leaves after you've flattened them like this. Just throw them in a book or something like that, because they get kind of crispy. You can see how crispy that is. That's because this has been sitting here for 2-3 years. You might want to do yours a little bit faster, but I have to have these on hand for demos. So see, we just punched some more leaves, and these are from Green Stuff World. You can see all the wonderful little leaves that we're getting here. We'll just tear that away. And they just fall down into my, for the most part, they fall into my little container there. It doesn't take long to generate a collection like this. Now, our lovely moderator, he made these. Now, these have been soaked in a glycerin mix to preserve the color, and these have really preserved their color. I mean, there's some sweet color in these leaves. Look at this. That is some fantastic color right there. Oh, hey, Nelaski, how are you doing? We have been continuing with Basing Sunday. Who would have thought it was going to be a Basing Sunday? But, well, it's more like Diorama Sunday. But, yeah, that's pretty fun. Now, we're going to put our our little leaf cutters aside. We'll put our leaves aside. Now we want to maybe add some leaves to this right here. And just get these things off to the side. Where is my little brush that I was using earlier? There it is. We can put some leaves on here. We can put some leaves under the water there. Now there's a couple of different types of glues that you could use. This is actually kind of a nice one right here. Now for the leaves that are going to go up here, I'm going to use this. This is from MIG Ammo. I'm just going to get myself a little container here. Like that. And it is clear. And actually, you really don't need very much of it. Actually, that was probably even more than I'm going to need. Let's see, Dr. Oh, thanks, Motor City Ray. Let's see, I've always loved these little diorama pieces, but since I used all my miniatures in tabletop games, I didn't carry away with it. Yeah, well, the movement trays, right? So many of the same principles apply. Movement tray and bases. Well, look at this guy here. This is one of my favorite Dothraki right here. That's just a piece of tree bark and some crackle paint and some tufts and a skull. It's that simple. It really is that simple. Yeah, Nalaski, this one, I think you might want to catch this one because we're just having so much fun with this now. Here's my leaves. All right. I'm going to throw a little bit of our sand and gravel glue out here. I'm also going to see if I can't get myself a paper towel going here too. That's better. And we're just going to drop some leaves on here now. There we go. Sorry if that was a little off camera. Let's throw some leaves. I'm just literally using the glue to pick them up with the brush. And this is why we have some different colors there. So now we've got ourselves some little cluster of leaves. Maybe a cluster of leaves somewhere else. Maybe a little cluster of leaves over here. Like so. Let's get ourselves a different color here. And look, it's almost like the leaves have blown up against this stuff here. Couple more. Kind of fills that out. Let's do some leaves in here. There's a couple of more. Really starts to build this out. Now, these same ideas here, well, it's not just for basing. It's not just for dioramas. And you can actually watch these. These are on my YouTube channel. Where's my terrain? Boom. The exact same techniques that you're seeing me use here. Those are 3D printed terrain pieces. That thing in the center is about 2 feet tall. It's ginormous. It is huge. That's 3 levels. There's 3 separate pieces there. And actually, and it's by RM Printable Terrain. That's a little scene there from one of the videos. That kind of gives you an idea of just how big that thing is. All those different pieces. So we love our terrain. And we're doing all the same stuff that you're seeing here. That's just done on a more colossal scale. You want to check out that terrain board? You can just look at the blog. I've got hundreds of articles on terrain. Let's see. Unit fillers can look fantastic for movement tray games, that's for sure. Let's see, where do you find the leaf pattern cutter? Those are from Green Stuff World, and they've got, oh my gosh, they might have 12 of them by now. They have a lot. I don't know exactly how many, but they got a lot of them. And I love them. I think they're fabulous. I've been using them for years. And I don't just use the leaves on terrain and stuff, on my vehicles. So for my early war French and Germans, those vehicles also have, those guys also have leaves on them. See how this adds another splash of color here? Now you know why we weren't fretting about painting this. Why would we fret about painting it when we're adding green, flock, foliage, leaves? We're adding all the stuff. No sense in getting fired up about that. Now I am, however, going to throw some leaves into my water. I don't know if you can really see what's going on here. But this is a little less careful, to say the least, because I just want some leaves in the water here. And they're mostly, these are going to be out here, as far as I can get them towards the edge where people can see them. I think you can see that here. Some more leaves. Maybe some more here. And who knows, maybe a leaf or two over here. Because that could be fun. Got some leaves on our rock there. Now we've got some leaves that we're going to see appearing in our water. We got some leaves that maybe we could do over here. Just grab ourselves a couple more. Sometimes I will just grab like a clump of them here. And I'm just going to chuck some of that sand and gravel glue in there. So now it looks like some leaves have blown up against the side of our broken bridge here. There's about some more of our leaves. There we go. Look, we can fill this out too. It's just literally a pile of leaves in there. Some more of my sand and gravel glue. You could use the Luke's APS for this too. But since this doesn't have any color to it, just for you guys, I thought it might actually be a little bit better on camera. Because this, you could use this to hold the flock and the other materials that we've used. You don't have to use the Luke's APS. And like I said, you could also use something like wood glue, whatever. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There's the link for it. So thanks again to our moderator. Let's see, started playing Kings of War, where you can multi-base, and you don't have to remove casualties. Now, Dr. Feedgood, I think you know I've been considering doing the same thing for Song of Ice and Fire, because you got so many freaking counters sitting on those units anyway. What is it going to hurt to have one more counter for wounds? Alright, look at this. Perfect spot. Bang, right there. Bunch of leaves. Whole bunch, a big pile of leaves right there. Look at all that. Oh, there's a Kathy. This is Kathy. She's been painting this furiously. Look at this. This is her quad color challenge.
And his base is not black.
Yep. There is what the four colors that she used was the
Golden yellow,
golden yellow, clear red, clear phthalo blue,
white.
and white, and dragon white. And oh, look at the tartan on there. So this is Kathy's fabulous entry. She's been working on this really hard. Ah, see, look at the in the folds there. See how there's that bluish green, even though it's mostly you see orange. But what do you see? We should almost do the film noir on this thing. Actually, what the heck? Let's do film noir on Kathy's miniature. First, let's get closer. And now let's do film noir. Boom. Yeah, see, now you don't see all those lovely colors. Now let's bring them back. Oh, let's get some brightness going here too. Let's bring our colors back, bring them back, bring them back. Look at that green in the, if a color goes somewhere like the green at the bottom, look at how the greenish blue has gone into, it's even in orange. Yes, color goes somewhere, it goes everywhere. That's the Wappel way. That's what Kathy does. Not Draconic Vision says that's awesome. Motor City Ray says that's amazing, Kathy. And oh, and that tartan is awesome even in noir.
Thanks, guys.
So Kathy says thanks. Oh, that's a little bit too close. Kathy's going to sleep now, turning into a pumpkin. Ah, we don't need to be that far away. That's better. So look at all these. Look at all this texture here. Look at this, guys. Even some of the leaves, because of the colors that we were using here with the Green Stuff World. Oh, sure. I'll tell her in Alaska. And tell Cinderella good night. That's what they said. She says thanks. Now, I'm going to just hit the side of this with just some kind of brownish color here. Because now that's going to be a little distracting. We're going to get some of this stuff out of the way. And we may need to do a little Zamboni here on all the stuff on our eye. It does look like ice, a little bit like an ice rink too. So what are we going to use? No, not our red liner. Actually, I'm tempted. Wow, I wonder if this is going to act a little bit like a stain. Oh, let's try this. I have no idea what that's going to look like. However, I'm going to try it anyways. So that is Burnt Earth. If this is the one I think it is. Ah, that's the one I think it is. Here, a little more. Let's give this a shot. I want to see what this looks like here. So, 1 second, folks. I think this will work. Aha, where's a safe place for my finger to go? And, oh look. Oh, and these things here, folks, when you watch the basing episode. Oh, hey, hey, Gumotron, thanks. I will tell her. Let's see. Spellbrush needs to do a little Fantasia dancing broom action on the bend. Yep. Now, for folks that watch these session on Monday, because you'll see a lot of these, I just call them jeweler's blocks. I know people say they're called this, they're called that. It's like, well, I learned about them from a jeweler, so that's why I always call them jeweler's blocks. And they're about $5-6 on Amazon. They're pennies on the dollar. Dirt cheap. Ooh, I like this. I think I got me a new thing to do for around the sides of these bases. It's acting like a stain. Instead of a paint, it's acting more like a stain. So this is the exact same stuff we were using to paint up here. This is the Burnt Earth from Green Stuff World. I've never tried this before. I just want to see what happens. I have no idea what to expect with this. It could, maybe it doesn't look the same once it's dry. I don't know. But it's nifty so far. It kind of is changing colors a little bit. There's a little more. I think we've almost circumnavigated this. I think we need to put out just a bit more of our stuff here. Hopefully that's, nope, that's medium earth. There it is. That's the right one. And hopefully that is enough. That should just about do it. A little more here. Almost there. And this is just a wooden plaque. Like I said, I got it from Hobby Lobby. I do advise that you sand down these edges because they will be rough. Not like rough you're going to get a splinter, but just rough like, oh my gosh, that doesn't look anything like a wooden plaque. So, and you can also put like maybe a little bit of varnish on this or something. Oh, that's interesting. I like the way that's kind of changing. It does look a little bit more like stain. Looks a bit more like stain. Now we need to start changing some things over here. I'm going to clean up the area because we've got to get ready for some water effects. And we don't want to be having all of this stuff laying around here. So what we'll do is just put away some of our leaves here. Let's get our sand and gravel glue out of the way. You can also, yeah, let's get some of this out of the way. You could have a little bit of a, I don't know, like a container around, and you just put, sometimes we use this like with terrain, you end up with a bunch of this stuff left over. You could just put it in a container, and you may not want to use it for basing because now it's all mixed up, like this has leaves in it and junk. But for those terrain pieces, like you saw how colossal those things were, well, it would be just perfect for those. So let me get down to my terrain again. So for something like that, it would be just perfect. So I would suggest just kind of saving your leftover stuff instead of just kind of throwing it away like I have to here, because I kind of don't have a choice. Now I am going to try and sweep some of this away. And we'll go back to our screen here. There we go. So that's interesting how that's dry. Now I have to let that dry for just a little bit there. It does. It's almost like a bit of a shift here. Oh, Nolasky has to head out for the dogs. Oh, hey, Pixel Cat. How are you doing? Oh, let's see. Spellbrush need. Yeah, I think we're all caught up there. Now let us take one of these and one of these. You know, let's get that terrain off of them. So again, this is just blue tack right here. It's all it is. It's just blue tack. Let's get him spotted into here best as we can. And maybe we try and paint him with the oils. We're going to turn down our brightness again. Not quite that much, but there's your little wizard. And again, he's going to go over there. Now, the dragon here, we're still going to leave this off for right now. We won't mess with that. So again, if you want to catch the earlier stream, that is where we were working with our Wicked Elf foliage. Now I'm going to get me something to drink here. So sorry about that. Might also need a little bit of a cough drop as well. So we're going to let that dry. We might even, you know what? We don't really need this for our water effects. So now you see what that looks like without a palette on it. And remember, we always talk about our oil painting palette. So that's parchment paper here. Glue stick. I don't think anyone's ever actually seen this. You are the first people to see this process live. It's complicated. I mean, watch this. You might want to take notes because this is a very complicated process right here. Believe it or not, I've had 4 people tell me what's a glue stick, or I don't have any glue sticks around here. Since we have to attach labels to packages, maybe that's why we need glue sticks, but Anyway, look at that. There's a palette. Good to go. And look what we got here. Look what we have. Yes, we have our oil paints. I'm also going to have to make some room for those, I see. So don't mind me while my hand is getting in front of the camera there. So once again, this entire contraption here is just literally some pink foam, some Sculpey, and bulletin board cork. That's that, and painter's tape. Really, that's it. Nothing else. It's insanely simple. Look at all the wonderful colors and textures that we've got in this. I do have pictures of what this looked like when it was just pink foam and not even primed. You wouldn't really believe the difference that all of this makes. Let me see. I think we are good. Yep, naked palette backer. So what was that piece of cardboard? It was this kind of piece of card. It was literally just a piece of card. You can see some of the layers of glue on there, right? Let's see. Oh, this thing here. This thing weighs next to nothing because it's literally just pink foam. The weight comes from the wooden plaque. There's virtually no weight. There's just cork. There's that little bit of Sculpey. Otherwise, this practically weighs next to nothing. It is virtually weight-free. Now, I think we're almost dry enough here. I just want to be able to blow this stuff away and get to our water effects. Now, there's a couple of ways we could do this. Now, I don't quite have enough of this to cover it. I know that. But this is one possibility that we have. Where'd she go? Here we go. Because earlier today, that's what we used in here. And because this cures instantly with your UV light on it, that it could still work for there, but you know what we have a whole lot of? I mean, we've got a lot of this stuff, like more than we know what to do with. This is going to be our water effects. Push you off to the side. Just like what we did with this lady right here. Look at that. You can see how it dries nice and clear. Now when we put it on here, it's going to look just white because, well, we're just putting it on here. I'll show you another area where we put a lot of it down and it ended up drying clear. This entire base right here was covered with that exact same stuff. Look at, see our leaves here? You can see all those leaves in it. Look at in here. You see all that stuff under? There's leaves underneath there. We basically get like an extra layer of depth just kind of by default. Oh, Coffee Nerdy Beer has to take off. Let's see. The Mister and I have been enjoying having you on whilst we paint. Well, I hope it was. I hope you got a lot of fun stuff done while you were painting because, well, I mean, we love painting our miniatures. And thanks again for hanging out with us. Let's see. I propped toothpicks in my eyelids to see this water effect. Well, this space is almost dry. We are going to find ourselves something that we can use, a little bit of a blister pack thing here. We love our blister packs for whatever reason. We usually have tons of them around. Here, I'm just gonna... Where is my one that I had over here? There we go. We can use that as a blister pack. Oh. So our water effect, our second waterfall effect, see that's almost cured right there. Look at the, again, look at all the heavy texture that we've got. But it's drying clear, which is also what's going to happen with this too. Let me see. Oh, hey, Princess Trunks, how are you doing? So we've got our little, well, palette, so to speak. Now, how about this brush? No, that's got too much junk in it. We don't want to have junk. Well, you don't want to have junk in the brush. That's not going to be super helpful. We are going to get ourselves a couple of different brushes out here, though. Push this aside. And you can see, look at nice texture. And look at the body that this had. This is why it worked so well for our icicles, and we'll show that too because those might have dried a little bit more. Well, let's just shovel this stuff out here. Let's shovel a bit more. I think, at least for now, that's gonna do just fine. Let's look at our let's look at our icicles over here. Let's look at these icicles because they're really starting to become very clear. You see that one right there? That is almost clear. Oh, look at these. These are fantastic. Oh, look at these guys. I think you can see these a little bit easier. Yeah, see those right there? Now I think now you can see that icicle there. See it? Look at that one right where my finger is. And even this one is starting to clear out too. You can see we've got another little one underneath there. So our icicles are doing really well here. I know people are wanting to see those. And now you can see the snow effects have really sort of set up nice. They're nice and those are nice and hard. All right, where's my wee little brush right here? Now, see this has some paint in it. You know, you can actually make your water a little bit of a color. Oh, actually, here, let's play with this real quick, just so people get a chance to see what we're talking about here. I'm going to use a different brush. You know, we were talking about tinting the water. So this is a Chilean green. And believe me, you would talk about a little with the oils goes a long freaking way. That's a tiny dot of a Chilean green right there. Look at the difference that makes. Now, the less you put in, I know that looks all white and creamy right there. Guess what? It's not going to dry that way. Can you see that little bit of hint of blue in there? That's what's going to happen. That's what it's going to look like. So you can tint this stuff. I'm actually kind of glad that we got to see that because I think that could be useful for people. Now, where's my little spritzer thing here? So I could just use some cleaner water here. We're going to use this, and we'll just pour some clean water in there. Some clean water. That is cold water, my goodness. And you know what? Okay, yeah, there's still a little bit of blue in here. What the heck? Let's have it have a little bit of blue in it. It's tinted slightly. I mean, like really slightly here. That can't hurt. That's not going to be too horrible. I mean, it probably just looks white on screen. Now, why am I thinning this down? Well, I don't need waves. I mean, we don't need tidal waves here. Although, yeah, I mean, we could put more wave action into this. Yeah, we don't want it to look like oh, wait a minute. Unless he's... Oh, okay. I mean, we could say he's doing an Arwen or something like that, where he's calling a wave, like a draconic wave here up on shore. I don't, maybe we play with that. But in any case, this is going to have a bit of a blue tint to it. It wasn't meant to be, but it's going to be. And we're still thinning this down. Still going to thin this down. And that should be enough. Time for some kind of a rag to get rid of some of this. And now that I really do like the outer edge of that base. Now I could put some kind of a glossy varnish on that. That glue really holds this stuff down. I mean, that is held in place. So now shall we paint? I'm gonna hold this, or you can see it. And you could see it, we're just kind of, look at how we're just kind of brushing this over the top. We just kind of position this, and then we just push it along. Now we don't want to be scrubbing this because it is also going to start picking up some of the color of the sawdust. So there's another little big blob in there. And see, I'm just kind of pushing this out. This is so much easier than pouring. Why? Because there's no dam. I don't have to build a dam and then hope that it doesn't start leaking all over the place. Because how many times have you guys tried doing a resin pour or something like that? And you wake up the next morning and all of your resin, none of it is actually where you wanted it to be. It's all over the floor. It's all over your table. It's nowhere where you want it to be. And you have instant sad face. Yeah. Also, see this foliage right here? I do not have to worry about that absorbing some resin. And like the resin gets sucked up in there. And now I've got foliage with a bunch of resin soaked in it, which that's not going to be good either. I'm just putting this over my leaves, over the top of those leaves. And if I want, see, I can almost put like some waves up against this, my shoreline here, so to speak. You can't do that with resin, right? It just wants to go all over the place. Oh, I made a resin mess last week, and she's still mad at you. Let's see, is the UV resin from Green Stuff World the same kind of thing as they used to do the shellac nails and nail salons? That I couldn't tell you. That is unfortunately, that's a question for both the nail salon and Green Stuff World. It could be. It could very well be. I know we've had the question, is it the same as UV resin, like as in 3D printing resin? My guess is no, mostly because I tried using that little UV flashlight to cure 3D printed resin, and it did not do that. Here again, look at this. It's just going to sit there on the edge. I did not have to, there's no leakage prevention. I don't have to worry about leakage. I am going to push some of this further back here. I know you can't see it, you just have to bear with me. Alright, and because this has a decent working time, so I can just kind of flatten out like a Zamboni here. I think once we get to this other side, it'll be a little bit easier for you to see. But all of that has a nice little kind of watery texture to it. Now, I think you can see this. And see, I'm just kind of almost like I'm shoveling it across here. I'll throw some more down. Look at, see how I'm already starting to kind of pick this up. I can maybe, if I want something that looks like waves, it's not a problem to do that. And it should be interesting as the night rolls on here to see what is this going to look like when this starts to, well, I know what it's going to look like. I know you guys aren't quite sure what it's going to look like. Just pushed it right around. Look at this. So I just kind of flatten that. And it's going to give me some nice watery texture. We need some more over here. Now also, I think I'm going to need a smaller brush to do this. Oh look, I've got one, and it's a number 6 craft brush. A little number 6 craft brush here. So actually, I kind of like the idea of that. Let me see. Plop and push. Let me see. No, I know there are crafters who use the nail lights to cure their 2D resin bits. I made the resin mess. Let's not get that on our stuff here. We are gonna just continue with our water effects out here. It's actually, boy, I kind of, well, I'm gonna have to go with some more in some areas, but I was pretty close on how much I actually needed, it looks like. And I do believe we were calling this little diorama here, we were calling this the bridge is out. I think that's what it was going to be called, just for fun. Let's get some water in here. Again, look at how easy it is to just get this edge with some water. It's hanging over the edge. It's literally hanging over the edge of the plaque there. And it's no problem. Resin pores ain't gonna let you do that. Now it will take less time to dry. Let's say if you do a thinner layer and then do another layer on top of it. And well, less time before you have the satisfaction of seeing something. However, you're just gonna have to put another layer on top of it anyway. So I know for most of us, if not all of us, instant gratification is not fast enough. But sometimes not being hasty is good. Now, again, gets to let some of that push up against our shoreline there. How much more do we want to put into this? Okay. I know I need more in the center here, because I can always add some more. Let's say I just kind of flatten that out. Now you can see that wave that's kind of building up there on the shore. Now we also have our water, like regular water. Remember, if we put water on our brush, look what happens. Watch what's happening here. See how this is leveling itself? I think if I hold it like this, look at how that starts to level itself. It's not quite so rough anymore. I just got a little bit of a gap there I want to fill. I mean, that's not exactly a sheet of glass, but see how there's not as much texture there anymore? Now here I don't mind quite so much over here either, because, well, that's supposed to be maybe waves hitting a shoreline or something. But again, we thin this down. Push this across here. And there is your water. I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I would like to get a little bit more water into here. I just noticed another little area that needs water here. And I do realize it can be hard to see sometimes, even when I'm filming the tutorials, that kind of happens sometimes. And I just have to say, look, you can't see this, or it's going to be tough for you to see this. But if I can't see this, nothing's going to happen. Now again, we're thinning this down. And that it's kind of like we were thinning. Remember, we were thinning the Luke's APS glue so that it would sink down in center. Well, we're actually quite literally thinning down our water effect here, and that's gonna let it kind of flatten out just a touch. Here's another little batch of our water effect here. And like I said, I don't mind if there's a little bit of blue in that. I mean, what's the big deal? It really is pretty subtle. But look, we still got some rocks that are sticking up out of this. There's even some vegetation that's going to stick up out of that. Let me see if I can't squeeze a bit more out of this thing. That's my last bit of it here. And that fills that right there. Okay, we don't need that sticking to me. And it just flattens this out. This is probably the largest single surface that I've done with it, kind of open surface. That's why I wanted to try this. Remember, Book of Wappel says you can't take the voyage of discovery if you don't get on the boat. And well, also, not trying is a fantastic way to avoid both failure and success. And now we've got our water effects in place. And we shall patiently await its drying. And again, this was pretty thick. I mean, this was really thick not that long ago. So, you know, I think this was just in the afternoon we did this. So you can see how nice and look at how translucent that. You can see all the way down. You can see my finger underneath there. Oh, thanks, Hobbies for Happiness. Let me see. Let's see. All right, it's been real. Oh, Bajawa has to take off. Well, you have a good night. Motor City Ray. It's wonderful because it's not expensive at all. All the things that we've done, the icicles and everything else, that is Liquitex Super Heavy Gloss Gel.